With a violent slam, the woman with glasses is thrown against a bookshelf. A creak sounds as a pink-haired woman looms over her, angrily questioning why she's missing the Land of Destiny deadline. A hand grabs her face with a sickening crack. The pink-haired woman screams that it's her job to handle this, belittling the other woman as just a shadow creator. The dark-haired woman glares back, sitting defeated on the ground. The pink-haired woman presses her foot down, claiming she knows the real reason Land of Destiny got noticed. It was all thanks to her. In a memory, a friend excitedly asks Siki if she created this herself. Sehi's story introduces the main character, Lily Crispell, who uses purification magic to win over princes despite her hardships, and the villainous, Violeta Crispell. The story is filled with charming princes drawn to Lily. The memory of her creation continues to unfold. The pink-haired woman excitedly suggests entering Sehi's project into a contest, but Sehi hesitates, calling it unpolished. Insisting it's her specialty, the pink-haired woman volunteers to write the proposal and retitle the project. She praises Sehi's work and asks to collaborate if it's accepted. Sehi agrees. Yuri celebrates, but the memory shatters, revealing she submitted the proposal for the land awaiting destiny under her own name, Choi Yuri. Sehi's shocked face is reflected in a shard as Yuri is congratulated on becoming the director. Back in the present, Yuri claims that the success of Land of Destiny is all thanks to her. Sehi frowns, accusing Yuri of stealing her proposal and calling it unfair. Yuri responds with a confident, dismissive wink. Yuri justifies their teamwork. She takes the credit in public appearances while Sehi works in the shadows, showing off articles praising herself. But Sehi can only clench her fist in silent protest. Yuri slams her hand down beside Sehi's head. She snarls that Sehi is worthless except as her shadow, and orders her to do her job. As the shelf creaks again, Yuri leaves Sehi alone on the floor. Trapped by despair, Sehi resolves to continue, fearing her creation, Land of Destiny, will be ruined if she stops. She finds her strength, determined not to disappoint the fans by letting the sequel get put on hold. Clenching her fist, she agrees to continue as the large bookshelf behind her begins to creak and lean. With a final crack and a heavy thud, the bookshelf collapses on top of her. Her lifeless hand rests near her shattered glasses, surrounded by blood. As her spirit floats in a cosmic expanse, she makes a final wish for another chance at life. She wishes for a world free of despicable people like Yuri. She falls through a radiant, golden, magical seal. A blinding flash of light envelops everything. She awakens to the sight of a magnificent castle in a sunlit garden. An elegant tea service and pristine white roses signal a life of luxury. A silver-haired woman in fine jewelry lets out a sudden gasp. She finds herself at a garden tea party with a man and woman. The couple smiles warmly, asking if she's simply worried about what dress to wear to tomorrow's ball. She recognizes them as Emperor Crispell and Empress Spira, and they ask what's wrong, calling her Violeta. She rises in shock, knocking over her teacup as she begins to speak. Her mind confirms it. She is now the first princess of the Crispell Empire. She has been reborn as Violeta Crispell. With tears in her eyes, she realizes she's been reincarnated into the world of Land of Destiny. The world she created is now her reality. She screams in horror, realizing she's become that Violeta. She despairs at becoming the story's most evil villainess, then wonders about the main character. Turning, she sees her, the heroine Lily Crispell, standing in the garden. She internally praises her own work, admiring Lily's beauty and thanking her for being the best character ever created. Memories flood back of her and Yuri designing Lily, with Yuri celebrating their work and promising to develop the game with love. She remembers a time when Yuri was kind, bringing handmade muffins for the team to celebrate their hard work. Plop, she recalls Yuri kindly offering a muffin, but a dark insect crawls on it. With a loud thud, Siki drops the tainted muffin into the trash can. As her co-workers murmur, she realizes Yuri threw it away, quickly lying that there was a bug. Riddling Yuri, Sehi remembers her feigned apology for making muffins. Sehi supposedly hated, making Sehi feel guilty. The memory twists, revealing Yuri's cruel, knowing smile as she apologizes for being so slow. The painful memory fades into a shower of light. Back in the present, Violeta recalls the fly muffin incident, realizing Yuri always isolated her from the crew. She remembers the shock of seeing Choi Yuri's name alone as director, but it didn't matter if she could keep creating. An ache fills her chest as she touches her necklace. lost in thought. The story's magical world is introduced, featuring a magnificent castle. The heroine, Lily, is presented as someone who helps everyone with her love. The handsome princes appear as Violeta celebrates getting to live in her dream world. Violeta stands in a vibrant field, gazing at the beautiful castle ahead. The narration explains that as the magicless princess, Violeta's jealousy of her sister Lily leads to a terrible incident. Violeta smiles with pure, unbridled excitement for what's to come. At the tea party, her parents and Lily notice her glee, but she nervously says it's nothing. Lily offers Violeta a beautiful purple rose, calling it a flower that suits her. Violeta happily accepts the flower, graciously thanking Lily. Sliver, the rose, sprouts teeth and bites at her hand, forcing her to drop it with a yelp. She apologizes to her shocked parents for the sudden commotion. Lily rushes to her side, seemingly concerned about her well-being. Lily embraces the shaken Violeta, looking over her shoulder with a hidden expression. Lily's voice echoes, pleading with Violeta not to be angry. An evil vision of Lily looms over Violeta as she falls into a dark abyss of thorny roses, realizing this isn't her character. The image of Lily contorts, revealing the face of Choi Yuri as Violeta screams her name internally. She recognizes the creepy smile as Choi Yuri's, not Lily's. Lily gets unnervingly close to the terrified Violeta. A red-haired prince arrives, whom Lily greets as Lance de Rosenberg, her fiancé. Lance explains he rushed over to present his long-awaited gift. He reveals a stunning flame ring, leaving Lily amazed as she asks if she can accept it. Prince Lance kneels and formally proposes to a delighted Lily. Violeta realizes all the conditions for the story's special event have been met. Fwoosh, a massive, cursed black dragon suddenly descends upon the palace garden. The menacing dragon growls as it confronts the royal party. Shing, Prince Lance, draws his sword, which ignites with a fiery blaze. He vows to protect his fiancé's palace as the dragon demands the flame ring. While Violeta urges Lily to choose her next words carefully, Lily defiantly refuses to give up the ring. That's not the right answer, Violeta thinks in horror, as the dragon strikes with a mighty slash. A poison mist spreads, causing the Empress, Lily, and the Emperor to cough and groan. Lance stands ready as his sword continues to blaze brightly. Whoosh! He unleashes a wall of fire, blocking the poison as the Emperor entrusts the fight to him. Hearing Lily call her name, Violeta clutches her burning heart, knowing the others are suffering too. Violeta calls the dragon by its true name, Prince Majes, stunning it into silence. She tearfully promises to handle the ring and begs him to remove the poison. The dragon scoffs, refusing to believe the promise of a powerless girl. Violeta demands the ring from a confused Lily. Fwoosh! A golden light emanates from her outstretched hands. A brilliant light bursts forth from a field of thorny golden roses. As Lily notices the light, Violeta stands in a rose garden, holding a glowing book and saying, "It's here." Rummage, her hands push through the thorns to find a single glowing golden bud. The silver-haired woman turns, a confident smile on her face. A man's hand gently kisses her own in a tender moment. A handsome, purple-haired man appears amidst a shower of petals. He is introduced as Majes von Nightwald, the first prince of the Night Kingdom. The silver-haired woman tells Prince Majes she's relieved he's returned to his normal form. The Emperor confirms the rumor was true. Prince Majes was cursed into a dragon. The narration recalls the glowing rosebud, located in the thorny garden. Lily appears, looking tearful and clasping her hands in distress. Sob, Prince Lance comforts Lily, telling her not to blame herself for what happened. Sigh, Violeta realizes Choi Yuri has started her "I didn't know" excuses. Lean, Prince Majes gets closer to a flustered Violeta as she stammers. Prince Majes gives her a charming smile as a notification reveals his affection level has increased to 5. Violeta feels her heart pounding in response to his smile. A framed image depicts a happy couple resembling Lily and a prince on their wedding day. Lily smiles beautifully and asks Prince Majes to please call her Lily. Sparkle, her innocent expression shines as she looks up hopefully. Prince Majes dismisses Violeta, turning to a tiny cute Lily who has appeared nearby. Lily's expression twists into an annoyed, sinister smile as she clenches her fist. The scene shifts to a lavish and sparkling royal bedroom. Lily angrily demands her next dress from her maid. Lily's personal maid, Yumina, looks on, in shock. Yumina suddenly trips over the carpet. With a loud crash, the maid falls hard onto the floor. Tiesk, Lily looks down at her fallen maid with pure annoyance. Splash! She douses the maid with water, offering a disingenuous apology. As water drips from Yumina's uniform, she weakly suggests that Lily should rest. With a cruel smile, Lily coldly orders her to go back to her village. She ends her threat with a simple question, "Got it?" Clack, 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 Violeta walks down a long, ornate hallway with her maid. Her maid, Lana, questions her plain dress, but Violeta insists it's enough. The narration explains that Lily's path will be set by the prince she chooses to dance with at the banquet. Violeta recalls that, according to the story, no prince is supposed to choose her. She resolves to stay unnoticed to avoid becoming the villainous. She flinches, startled by a presence nearby. The soaking wet Yumina stands before her, and Violeta asks what happened. Yumina tearfully begins to explain, stammering out Lady Lily's name. "Fired me," she finishes, leaving Violeta stunned and whispering Lily's name in disbelief. The memory of a pure, smiling Lily, surrounded by white flowers, flashes through her mind. As Yumina apologizes and rushes to leave, Violeta moves to stop her. With a firm grab, she catches the maid's arm. Violeta pulls the crying maid into a comforting embrace. Yumina looks up, shocked and speechless at the sudden kindness. Violeta fiercely declares that she won't let Yumina suffer like this. Violeta's thoughts rage against Lily, wondering how she could be so cruel. How could this happen, she wonders, when Lily is supposed to be lovely? The scene transitions to the inside of an elegantly decorated room. Lana calls out to Lady Violeta, telling her she needs to hurry up and change. Violeta laughs, while Lana sternly reminds her to follow the basic etiquette of a lady. Yumina bows her head, looking ashamed and anxious. Lana begins lacing up the back of Violeta's new dress. Lana shouts in disbelief, reminding Violeta that she said otherwise earlier. Yumina simply offers a knowing smile in response. Violeta asks Lana to hand her some earrings, which the maid dutifully agrees to do. Yumina bows respectfully, while Lana watches her with a thoughtful expression. Lana recalls hearing that Lady Violeta was known for being cold to her staff. The rumors painted her as an arrogant and merciless villainess. Lana reflects that this was true until just a few days ago. She remembers how dozens of maids were fired, making her consider quitting as well. But then she recalls an image of a gentle Violeta surrounded by white flowers. The memory of this change brings a warm, hopeful smile to Lana's face. Yumina looks on, her expression unreadable as she observes the scene. In her room, Violeta gazes at her reflection in the mirror. Her maid begins to narrate the story of how she was Shatter, a memory of a crystal flower breaking flashes through her mind. A former maid cries in despair over the broken, treasured crystal flower of joy. The memory shimmers and fades. A flashback shows a young, pink-haired Lily looking on with apparent concern. Trembling, the maid listens, as Lily tells her that it's okay. The broken crystal pieces seem to float in the air. The shimmering fragments hang suspended in a memory. "Squeeze!" Lily kindly takes the maid's hands, thanking her for helping. The gentle memory fades into a decorative pattern. Violeta reflects on her creation. The real Lily was a kind girl. Clench, her fist tightens with resolve, knowing she cannot stand by. Her eyes burn with determination. She vows not to let her precious world fall apart. The scene shifts to a promotional image for a comic website. The banquet begins, with the royal family presiding over the crowded throne room. The emperor rises to announce who broke the curse. He declares it was the Crystal Empire's first princess. First, the doors swing open, dramatically revealing Violeta. She stands elegantly in a stunning, dark blue lace gown. With a confident smile, she makes her grand entrance. The crowd gasps in awe at her breathtaking appearance. The emperor clears his throat, ready to formally name the hero. He proudly announces to the court that it was Violeta. He then asks his daughter what reward she would like. Despite being offered land or a title, Violeta simply says, no. She humbly claims it was good luck that she broke the prince's curse. Lily internally seethes, calling Violeta her pathetic shadow who should know her place. Later, nobles mingle and chat throughout the grand ballroom. Lily basks in the attention of her many admirers. Standing alone, Violeta overhears guests whispering suspiciously about her. They speculate that she used cowardly tactics and secret schemes. Violeta wryly accepts that everyone's suspicion was to be expected. Rattle, a maid, approaches as Violeta realizes Lily's devious plan is already in motion. A tray is presented, holding a golden goblet and a decanter of red wine. The scene transitions with a flourish of silver patterns. She recalls the original plot. She was to poison the Emperor's cup, and then publicly frame Lily for the treacherous crime. The villainess's true goal was to imprison Lily. The scene transitions with a flourish of patterns. Sigh, Violeta reflects on her own twisted character. She realizes she can change the story's path now. A memory of the kind Emperor flashes by. She decides not to poison the Emperor. Someone takes the tray from the maid. Lily takes the tray from the maid. Lily offers to prepare her parents' drinks, confusing Violeta. She then reveals her sinister plan to frame Violeta. Violeta realizes with horror what Lily is doing. A dark realization washes over her. The memory of the original poisoning plot resurfaces. She cries out, unable to reach Lily through the crowd. Wham! She's pushed back, thinking this isn't right. She reaches out desperately, trying to stop the inevitable. Lily pours the poison, becoming the true villainess. She stumbles, but someone catches her. She looks up into the eyes of Prince Majes. She whispers his name in surprise. Squeeze! She instinctively clutches onto his coat. Tearing up, she resolves to reach her father. His gaze intensifies, seeing her distress. A vision of a silver heart-shaped vial appears. He suddenly pulls her close. He pulls her into a dance, advising her to use the chaos. She looks back, stunned by his unexpected actions. He gracefully leads her across the ballroom floor. As he dips her, their eyes lock in the middle of the dance. Meanwhile, Lily offers the poisoned goblet to the Emperor. He smiles warmly, unaware of the danger. Violeta approaches, interrupting to ask about her reward. He asks if she wants the contents of the goblet as her reward. Yes, she says, grabbing the golden goblet from his hand. Gulp, Violeta drinks the poison, shocking Lily. She smiles, thanking him for granting her favor. She turns to Prince Majes with an apology. Holding the goblet, she wonders if it was truly poisoned. Stagger, she whispers for him to keep her secret. The poison takes effect as she collapses onto the floor. A panicked voice cries out her name. The Emperor and Empress watch in sheer horror. Prince Majes looks down in disbelief and alarm. Lily looks on, her expression grim and unreadable. The scene is interrupted by a promotional image. Prince Majes rushes to hold the fallen Violeta. Lily fumes internally, her plan to frame Violeta ruined. She watches Lily from a distance, surrounded by roses. Lily's thoughts rage, wondering why Violeta interfered with her plan. Jolt! Lily looks on in shock as someone cries out for Violeta. Prince Majes demands to know what happened as he cradles the fallen Violeta. Lily rushes towards the commotion surrounding Violeta's collapse. Prince Majes looks on with a grim and silent intensity. Lily clutches the goblet, confident she has secured the evidence and deflected suspicion. She declares herself the most beloved person in this world. Wipe! She refuses to heal Violeta, eager to watch the outcome. Murmur, a red-haired man overhears the whispers and questions Lily's presence. The crowd clamors in shock as Prince Majes reveals he suspects Violeta was poisoned. A maid urgently guides a robed man toward the banquet hall. Clench. Prince Majes' fist tightens as he gazes at the unconscious Violeta. The Emperor desperately calls for anyone with healing powers to help. Lily feigns helplessness, claiming her healing power hasn't awakened yet. She maintains a facade of innocent concern. Lily reveals she orchestrated the real Violeta's near death at a cliff to awaken her own powers. She recalls with triumph how the manufactured crisis awakened her abilities. Fortunately for her, Violeta's resulting amnesia nullified any need for an alibi. Prince Majes groans in frustration and distress. She inwardly celebrates, knowing she has already mastered her healing power. The Emperor demands to know if it's true that Lily can heal. Amidst the confusion, Lily humbly admits her power is not yet perfected. Her excuse is dismissed as irrelevant in the face of the emergency. Prince Majes urgently commands her to heal Princess Violeta now. Flinch, she recoils, startled by the direct order. A red-haired man approaches, offering a reassuring smile. Annoyed, she wonders why they're so desperate to save Violeta, but agrees to help. Whoosh, she begins to channel her healing power, creating a brilliant light. Poof, the healing magic sputters, causing plants to briefly bloom and die. She stands within a glowing magic circle, performing the healing ritual. Violeta's body is enveloped in the sparkling, restorative light. Watched by the royal family, Lily performs the healing over the fallen princess. The physician confirms her breathing and pulse have returned to normal. The crowd erupts in praise, calling Lily a saintess for her miraculous healing. Kiss, her fiancé declares his pride in her as he kisses her hand. He looks at her with adoration and thanks. Lily internally fumes over her ruined plan. Annoyed, Violeta drank the poison instead. Her annoyance shifts, wondering why that maid is still present. Wow, she vows to make everyone obey Choyuri as the crowd bows before her. The scene transitions to the majestic royal castle. Tap, tap, her plans ruined by the early end to the party. Tap, 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 she blames Violeta for everything, calling everyone fools for panicking. Tap, tap, she scoffs, annoyed she didn't even use a lethal dose. From her window, she watches Prince Majes walk through the gardens below. She smiles, admitting she at least enjoyed watching Violeta's pathetic suffering. She muses that Prince Majes is just another character for her to manipulate. Awakening in her bed, Violeta reassures everyone that she is fine now. She finds her maids overprotective and longs for a walk. Knock knock, she rises from bed and invites the visitor to come in. Prince Majes enters her room as she offers a polite greeting. Prince Majes questions why she is out of bed. She asks if he needs something, but he explains he just came to visit. Raise. He offers her a beautiful bouquet of flowers. The silver heart-shaped vial appears in a flash of memory. Blushing, Violeta accepts the flowers with a quiet thank you. Violeta recalls the original story. He should have been visiting Lily for secret nightly walks. He demands to know why she drank the poisoned wine. She claims it just happened. Jolt. He angrily questions her reckless answer. She looks at him, startled by his intense reaction. His anger suddenly melts into a wide, cheerful laugh. She watches him, now completely bewildered by his laughter. Giggle. She smiles to herself as he asks why she is laughing. He apologizes for causing a scene when she had asked to be taken out quietly. He then asks if she wanted secrecy to protect Princess Lily. Shocked, she asks how he could possibly know. He reveals that Princess Lily was the first person seen holding the poisoned cup. The red-haired man recalls seeing Lily try to eliminate the evidence. He confirms to himself that what he saw was true, that Lily was indeed the one who poisoned the cup. Ugh, he grabs his head, frustrated with his recurring suspicions about Lily. He remembers Lily's desperation as she called his name, Lance, to help a hurt child. He recalls Lily approaching him, asking if he was also there to visit Violeta. Lily peeks into the room, noting that her sister already has company. Torn, Lance resolves to investigate his suspicions to clear his mind. Bleh! Lily internally scoffs at the scene, wondering if possessing a new body made Violeta a flirt. The scene transitions to a peaceful garden gazebo. Over tea, Lily reflects that she thought she died because of Siki. She blissfully enjoys a pastry, forgetting her dark thoughts. Lance smiles, gently wiping a crumb from her cheek. She feels she could leave him be, but something holds her back. It bothers her that Violeta knows so much. She vows to train her to be an obedient shadow, just like in their past lives. As they lean in to kiss, the narration calls her the star. Sometime later, Lily observes the peaceful town, remarking on the citizens' lives. Bustle. The town square is full of life and activity. Smile. She turns to her maid, whose expression turns to fear. Glow. A small pouch unleashes a dark entity with glowing red eyes. Slither. A massive green snake with glowing eyes emerges. Bite. The snake sinks its fangs into one of the boys. Panic erupts as the crowd realizes the snake is venomous and calls for a doctor. She stands calmly, surrounded by a field of blooming white lilies. She kneels down to comfort the frightened, injured boy. Poof! Golden healing magic gathers in her hands. She unleashes her power, bathing the boy in a divine healing light. She smiles warmly, the embodiment of a saintess. The healed boy and his grateful mother thank her. Rise! She prepares to take her leave from the grateful crowd. The villagers gratefully offer her baskets, filled with gifts. She accepts their offerings with a bright, happy smile. Whisper, the crowd worries their humble gifts are unworthy of a princess. Smile, she thinks of her next move. Plop! Splash! The villagers' gifts are tossed into the river. The scene shifts to a vast forest surrounding a kingdom. Schwa, Lily, and her maid watch the baskets float away. Turn, she asks her maid if she recorded the boy's poisoning. The maid flinches and agrees. FSSSH. A magic mirror replays the image of the boy's bleeding snakebite. She wonders if poison works faster on a child, which would ruin her data. Her maid looks horrified as Lily seriously considers the implications. Lily mocks her maid's fleeting sense of relief. With a wicked grin, she reveals the maid will be the next test subject for the poison. Russell, the maid, clutches the bag of snakes in sheer terror. Lily smiles, claiming she's merciful for using a non-fatal poison and healing her afterward. Drip. The terrified maid collapses, gasping for air as she opens the case. Her trembling hand rests upon the writhing bag. Whoosh! Hiss of venomous snake wraps around the maid as she's silenced and bitten. Flinch, the maid weakly tries to call out for Lily. Gasp, sob, she cries out for Lady Lily one last time. Lily watches the horrifying scene with detached amusement. A flashback reveals this fate was meant for a white-haired woman named Violeta, who was saved by a protection spell. Lily sits and contemplates this new information. She wonders if Violeta has other weaknesses, recalling she had no magic in the game. She erupts in frustration, annoyed that she had Siki write this part and can't remember the details. Slither. The snake emerges from the case as the maid gasps on the ground. Hiss. The snake lunges at Lily, only to be struck down by an unseen force. Drop. The snake's severed head falls as Lily stares in shock. Flap, flap. She looks up to see a griffin descending from the sky. A white-haired woman riding the griffin announces she saw a venomous snake. Lily remembers the story's detail. Violeta has zero magic. She thinks that if Violeta can attack without magic, she will be an annoyance. Clench. Her expression darkens with irritation. The white-haired woman calls out to Lily in concern, but Lily is wary. The woman urges Lily to use her healing magic, worried she might have been bitten too. The maid lies unconscious, but a voice confirms she'll be okay. The white-haired woman tends to the sleeping maid, who rests against the griffin. The woman, Siki, claims she was just taking a walk, but Lily internally scoffs at the lie. Lily wishes her a safe walk, her thoughts veiled. She offers Siki a pleasant, disarming smile. Siki awkwardly agrees and prepares to depart on her griffin. Whoosh! As Siki flies off, Lily's sweet smile twists into a sinister grin. The scene shifts to a lone, mysterious house deep in the forest. Clang, clang. Inside the somber home, a hammer echoes. The owner is revealed to be a menacing figure in an iron mask. He forges magical items for a witch who seeks to rule the world. Arriving at the door, Sehe dismisses the rumor of world domination as an exaggeration. She pets her griffin, musing the rumor would fit the real Violeta, and asks it to wait. Creak. The door opens to the kneeling, masked man. His inner monologue speaks of devotion to the one he serves. Sehe stands before him as his silent vow of purpose continues. He welcomes her with reverence. My mistress, Lady Violeta. Sehe feels a chill, shocked to see the character she created in person. Step. The white-haired woman approaches the masked man, asking to be excused. He confirms Lady Lily's healing power has awakened. The woman solemnly agrees. A memory shows a pink-haired woman surrounded by a magical glow and a butterfly. Crackle. A magical feather burns, as narration reveals their arrival has changed the game's events. The masked man warns Lady Violeta to be careful when her magic items contact other magic. The woman, now known as Violeta, looks on thoughtfully as the masked man observes her. He offers to recharge her ring with magic, and she accepts with a confused thank you. He returns to his workshop as Violeta sits, lost in thought. Her expression is serious as she contemplates the situation. Turn, she asks if she made a mistake. He questions why she'd think that. He explains that wearing the mask strengthens his magic, enabling him to forge her items. He fears that her wanting him to remove it means she no longer needs his services. She quickly apologizes, explaining that it wasn't her intention and that she knows his true reason for serving. A flashback reveals a boy named Siki, a slave with immense magic, was exiled for catching Violeta's eye. After severe torture, he found his only purpose in life was serving Violeta with absolute loyalty. Clench, she steals her resolve, understanding his past. Suddenly, the pink-haired Lily appears at the workshop door with a bright smile. Violeta is shocked, wondering how Lily found this secret location. Lily explains she just wanted to go for a walk with her. Glancing, she curiously surveys the craftsman's workshop. Lily realizes this must be the secret workshop of Violeta's personal magic craftsman. Violeta panics internally, realizing this is a terrible time for an unexpected event. She worries about the consequences if Lily and Siki have a fateful meeting here. Lily smiles sweetly, a hint of calculation in her eyes. The masked man, Siki, looks up at Lily, completely enchanted. A dark memory reveals the original Violeta punishing Siki for a misstep, leading to a bad ending. The new Violeta just wants to free him from the mask, which she suspects is a magical torture device. A memory of a pink-haired girl winking playfully flashes through her mind. Violeta realizes with dawning horror that Lily is now interested in Siki. Crouch, she decides she must intervene and steer the story in the right direction. Ahem, Violeta clears her throat and offers to introduce them. Grin, she calls Siki's name, a plan forming in her mind. Lily greets Siki with a brilliant smile, saying she'd been wanting to meet him. A romantic vision appears of Lily and a hooded man embracing among lilies. Siki stares at Lily, completely stunned by her presence. Chills. Lily's expression shifts to one of pure horror. Kick. She violently kicks Siki, sending him crashing to the floor. Lily complains about the mask and her dirty hand, then storms out to take a bath, leaving Violeta utterly dumbfounded by her reaction. Siki lies on the floor in utter confusion. Violeta is struck with disbelief, her mind reeling from the shocking turn of events. Touch. She kneels to check on Siki, who insists he is fine. He silently resolves not to be hurt by anything he sees or hears. Violeta starts to yell at him in frustration. She stops herself, realizing she can't reveal that he is just a character in a game. Bottom, her heart pounds as she places a hand on his chest, and he questions her action. A memory reveals her past self, a developer who poured her soul into creating this world and its characters. She realizes, with overwhelming emotion, that these characters are more than just data to her now. Gazing upon a majestic cathedral, she affirms her belief, they're alive. Turn, she invites a hesitant Siki to return to the castle with her. A thought reveals the next step is the affection boost event. After Siki meets Lily, his affection for her is supposed to increase, and Violeta vows to ensure he gets a happy ending. Batum, the masked man's heart beats as a notification confirms his affection has increased to 2. A narrator recalls the grand ball, where music and light filled the air despite a previous incident. A distinguished nobleman raises his glass, inviting all the guests to enjoy the night. On the crowded dance floor, guests spot Princess Lily dancing with Prince Lance. The pink-haired Lily and red-haired Lance share a loving gaze as they dance. Whisper, whisper, onlookers admire Lily's beauty, comparing her smile to a flower. Lance recalls how his healing of Violeta created a misunderstanding, denying he's a saintess. Lily reminds herself that as a princess, she must conduct herself more properly. Hearing her words, Lance finds her recent behavior strange. He dismisses his doubts, believing he already understands the situation. In a different scene, a red-haired woman reports to Lance that she found no poison on the curtain. Sigh, Lance seems resigned to the news, asking if that is so. He struggles internally, unable to shake his suspicions, despite knowing Lily's kind nature. A memory shows Lily carefully tending to his injured arm. A small blue bird rests on her shoulder as she smiles warmly. Lance's expression hardens with resolve. He asks Lily what's wrong, and she shyly replies she doesn't want anyone else to see her. Lily playfully asks if he is teasing her. He laughs and suggests they get drinks, leading her away from the dance floor. Clack, clack, Violeta and a companion walk down an ornate palace hallway. Flinch, a nobleman recoils with a disgusted look on his face. Violeta walks arm in arm with the man in the metal mask. After a rude comment from a guest, Violeta glares protectively and introduces her companion as Siki. Bottom, Siki's heart pounds as he clenches his fist, moved by her defense. Step. Violeta leads Siki toward a large golden door. Hearing the whispers of maids, Siki bows his head in shame. Bow. He bows deeply before her, formally addressing her as Lady Violeta. Violeta tells him that she cannot be with him this way, feeling he does not belong there. She apologizes, sincerely, her expression full of regret. She recalls his tormented past, admitting an apology can never be enough for what she did. She continues, acknowledging that his life was ruined because of her. Her expression brightens with a determined new idea. Siki kneels, pledging that his only purpose and happiness is to serve his master, Lady Violeta. Violeta envisions Siki with Lily, thinking that once Lily helps him, his cursed mask will come off. In a burst of brilliant light, she declares that his true life will finally begin. Tears of joy stream down her face as she smiles with hope. Reflected in Siki's eye, glowing magical chains shatter. Siki, now unmasked and with white hair, looks up lovingly as his affection reaches its maximum. Sparkle, the unmasked Siki, kneels before Violeta, offering her a glowing heart-shaped brooch. Lily watches the intimate moment from a distance. Both Violeta and Lily reel back in absolute shock. The unmasked Siki looks on in confusion, asking what is happening. Clack, clack, Lily storms through the palace, furious that Violeta is trying to seduce one of her characters. Her heels clack angrily as she marches down the long, empty hall. Murmur. The crowd parts as she makes her way back to the ballroom floor. The assembled nobles whisper amongst themselves, wondering about the identity of the handsome man with Violeta. Violeta and the now unmasked Siki stand together, framed by beautiful flowers. One of the guests wonders which noble family the handsome stranger belongs to. A red-haired man in a military uniform greets the pink-haired Lily at a grand ball. Lily wonders if a quiet, white-haired man is royalty. Her expression darkens with intense irritation. Grit. She clenches her jaw in silent fury. Turn, Lily's demeanor shifts to a bright smile as the red-haired man, Lance, asks if she knows the other man. The white-haired man thinks to himself that he does not know her. Murmur, murmur. The white-haired man stands beside a woman in a red and black dress. The white-haired man's expression is hesitant and troubled. The woman in red announces that Lily has arrived. Lily approaches and asks the woman, Violeta, to introduce her companion. Violeta proudly presents the white-haired man to Lily. Lily realizes with shock that this man is Violeta's magic craftsman. Kiss the white-haired man kneels and kisses the hem of Lily's gown. Violeta internally celebrates, thinking the game is proceeding perfectly as planned. Unexpectedly, Lily pulls the kneeling man into a tight embrace. Twitch, the man's eye twitches in shock as he's held by Lily. Lance watches in disbelief, stammering Lily's name. Oops, Lily feigns innocence, claiming she was just showing her appreciation. Swish, she playfully leans against Lance, who seems flustered. Glance, Violeta anxiously wonders if her plan is ruined and checks the man's affection level. She internally panics, scared by the unexpected turn of events. With renewed determination, she vows not to give up. She recalls a future event, where Lily bakes Siki unsweetened cookies. A vision shows Lily and Siki exchanging cookies and pleasantries. Turn, Violeta cheerfully asks Lance to recommend snacks for Siki. Lily smiles sweetly at Lance, playing along with the suggestion. Lance and Siki share an awkward, uncertain glance. Violeta sweats, watching the awkward interaction unfold. Lily quietly observes the scene, a thoughtful expression on her face. Heh, a sly smile spreads across her face as she thinks she understands. Alone by a window, Violeta sighs in relief, thinking that was a close call. She reminds herself of the two goals she must accomplish at the ball. The first goal is to raise Siki's affection level toward Lily. The second is to remain a villainous, keeping to herself and ensuring the story's destiny unfolds correctly. Gasp! She turns suddenly, sensing a presence behind her. Clack! Lily appears with a sinister smirk, taunting Violeta about her precious land of destiny. Violeta stares in wide-eyed shock and confusion. Lily menacingly closes the distance between them, asking if Violeta minds her interference. Violeta can only stammer in confusion, completely caught off guard. The scene shifts to a grand moonlit cathedral at night. Inside, Violeta waits alone, noting that Lily is late. Flutter, Lily finally arrives, wearing a radiant and innocent smile. She carries a tray with 2 glasses of tea. Lily sits with Violeta, admitting she feels nervous, as if she's doing something naughty. Gulp. A memory flashes of a different woman nervously drinking the tea. Shake, shake! Lily grins wickedly, assuring Violeta she didn't poison the tea. Lily suggests they drop the act and speak openly. Clench. Violeta grips her chair as Lily complains about her annoying behavior. Ha ha! Lily bursts into laughter, admitting the situation was so unreal, it was hard to believe. She leans in and directly addresses her by her true name. And you, Sehi? Violeta confesses she also died, trapped under storage shelves. She recalls the moment she died and awoke as Violeta. In contrast, Lily lists the perks of her new life. Perfect skin and hair with no weight gain. Surrounded by golden roses, she declares how much she loves it. Sigh, her tone hardens as she accuses Sehi of getting in her way. Violeta is shocked by the accusation, exclaiming that it's unfair. Whine, Lily complains that since becoming the heroine, she can't remember the storyline. Violeta understands, remembering Lily was her eccentric and unreliable director Yuri in their past life. Memory flashes of Lily asking Lance to dance with Violeta at the ball. The revelation leaves Violeta completely stunned and speechless. Pointing accusingly, Lily secures a reluctant agreement from Violeta. Lily lays down her terms. Siki must become her shadow again. She aggressively demands Sehi teach her everything she needs to know to win the princes. Lily smiles, thinking about their new roles as the angelic lead and the vicious villain. Violeta recalls how her former director, Choyuri, hated her and made her life difficult. She remembers the horrific muffin incident and Yuri's menacing smile clench. She resolves to sacrifice herself once more to protect the world she created. Facing Lily, Violeta formally agrees to become her shadow. Thrilled, Lily announces she has a request to make. Swish, the two women step out into the moonlit garden together. Whoosh! They discover Lance encased in ice, and Lily shouts his name as they rush forward. Violeta panics, realizing he will die if he remains frozen. A flashback shows a smiling Lily standing next to Siki at the ball. A memory reveals Lance received a report that the sealed frozen dragon had awakened. In the past, an annoyed Lily dismissed the danger to continue her fun with Siki. Lily explains to Violeta that Lance, a fire magic user, had to retreat. A chaotic flashback shows the dragon's attack as people scream to escape its frozen breath. Crackle, a man screams in agony as he is hit by the blast. Whoosh! Lance desperately yells for a royal figure to flee a powerful attack. After the ball, Lily idly muses that Lance must have been hit by the ice breath then. She recounts finding him by chance as he froze solid while explaining what happened. Looking down at his frozen form, Lily callously thinks he's stupid. Ha ha ha, she laughs, admitting her healing failed and telling Violeta to help instead. A tearful Violeta retorts that this is Lily's fault and that losing Lance jeopardizes a happy ending for them both. As Violeta finds Lance's weak pulse, a bored Lily tells her to hurry up. Yawning, Lily admits she waited for an hour or two before seeking help. Violeta seethes with silent fury, enraged by Lily's cruelty and negligence. She glares, thinking of how Lily left Lance to die in this condition. Her face cast in shadow, Violeta's rage finally boils over. Wave, Lily responds to the intense anger with a disarmingly cheerful wave. Violeta's inner voice screams that Lily's actions are unforgivable. Crackle, as purple lightning surges around Violeta, a thoughtful Lily tells her to wait. Lily calmly warns that attacking her will only trigger the unhappy ending Violeta fears most. Poke, poke, she playfully taps Violeta's forehead, telling her not to glare. Ugh. Having completely defused the situation, Lily laughs triumphantly. Defeated, Violeta explains that to melt the ice, a special item is required. The solution is revealed to be a radiant, red magic stone. Lily thoughtfully asks Violeta if she has the required stone. Violeta presents a red pendant, but expresses doubt it will work, since he's so completely frozen. Lily angrily snaps at her to stop talking and just try it. Violeta notes that the frozen Lance looks much worse than before. Lean, she and Lily emerge from behind a tree to approach him. Touch, Violeta places the magic stone on his chest as purple lightning begins to crackle. With intense focus, she channels her power, and the crackling energy grows stronger around her. As Violeta strains, Lily watches with delight as the ice begins to melt, cheering that she knew Violeta could do it. Foosh! The red magic stone glows intensely as Violeta pours her energy into it. As Violeta feels an agonizing needle-like pain and her hand begins to bleed, a hand suddenly grabs her wrist with a sizzle. With glowing red eyes, a newly awakened Lance grabs Violeta's arm, while a smiling Lily looks on. Lily cheerfully offers to help, much to Violeta's pained surprise. Pushing down on Violeta's hand, Lily forces more power into the spell, yelling, "Try harder." His icy curse finally broken, Lance sits weakly against the tree. Shake, shake. An ecstatic Lily celebrates by vigorously shaking a drained Violeta's hands. Lance looks over at Lily, who kneels before him with a look of concern. Lily suddenly coughs blood into her hand, her expression pained. After Lance asks if she is okay, she claims she used the magic stone of the ice sea to save him, gesturing to the now dull pendant on the ground. Overwhelmed with gratitude, Lance softly thanks Lily for saving him. Lily throws her arms around Lance in a seemingly heartfelt embrace. Glare over Lance's shoulder, her expression twists into a cold, sharp glare. Violeta internally scolds Lance for being an annoying idiot and Lily for being a fool who wanted to help him, her own eyes glowing with intensity. Noticing her, Lance calls out to Lady Violeta. Without a word, Violeta turns and walks away from the scene. Lance watches her leave, thinking with concern about her injured hand. Lily glares after Violeta, annoyed that Lance's attention is divided, and thinking he should only be looking at her. He recalls Violeta telling him she wants him to disappear. Lily feigns shock, asking if Violeta really said that. Lance is torn, unable to reconcile Violeta's supposed words with the wound she suffered to save him. His thoughts trail off into confusion as he murmurs, "How?" From a distance, Violeta watches Lance and Lily embrace. Hiding behind a tree, she silently apologizes to Lance, admitting he was never annoying. Resigned, she walks away, accepting that she must follow the path of the villainous princess. A memory flashes of a time when Violeta smiled with genuine happiness. Clack, her heel clicks as she begins her new performance. In a regal purple gown, Violeta now walks through the palace halls with a cold demeanor. She fixes a passing guard with a silent, intimidating glare that makes him flinch. Surrounded by an aura of thorny vines, she notes that her villainous persona is working perfectly. Clack, clack, she walks with Siki, maintaining her stoic facade. Siki watches her with a blush, thinking with admiration that this is his Lady Violeta. She internally celebrates her success, thrilled that she managed to scare the guard. With a smirk, she resolves that her next task is to make Lily act like a proper heroine. A vision of an innocent, blushing Lily appears, representing Violeta's goal. Her hope is that the land of destiny can finally have a happy ending. Arriving at a grand door, Violeta instructs her maids to wait outside. The maids express their concern, asking if they should stay close. Violeta reassures them, explaining that although they worry about her being alone with Lily, Lily's maid will also be there. Siki presents her with a new magic stone necklace, which she accepts with thanks. He asks if she is sure she'll be fine alone, and she hesitantly confirms. Clack, with a final "see you later," she enters the room. Alone for a moment, she wonders if she was too harsh, deciding fewer people are better for what's to come. Her thoughts trail off as a vision of her old game design book appears. Inside the room, a smiling Lily greets her, saying she's been waiting. Violeta decides to review the upcoming events with the pink-haired woman. The scene shifts to a silent, ornate bedroom. A memory shows a blonde maid named Hannah smiling warmly. Lily questions how Hannah died, but Violeta dismisses her as a mere extra, not caring how it happened. Lily argues back, stating that Hannah was never supposed to die, and accuses Violeta of joking. Clench, Lily warns that if Violeta procrastinates, she might change her mind. She repeats her threat, saying she might change her mind too. Violeta reminds Lily of their contract. She is the villainess, and Lily is the female lead. She furiously warns Lily that if she breaks their agreement, she will never be forgiven. Annoyed, Lily inwardly calls Violeta an idiot for her dramatic speech. Sunlight streams warmly through the windows of a quiet room. Whoosh! A hand carelessly tosses aside a bouquet of flowers. The beautiful blue and white bouquet lies discarded in a vase. A white-haired man declares the shabby flowers are unfit for Lady Violeta. A dark-haired man with purple eyes makes a sudden, elegant appearance. Glare, the dark-haired man confronts the white-haired man, who questions his meaning. An aura of annoyance surrounds the back of the white-haired man's head. The white-haired man demands Violeta be addressed properly, but Prince Majes introduces himself and warns him to watch his words. Crackle, the white-haired man scoffs, unimpressed by the title of prince. Turn and irritated Prince Majes decides to leave, promising to return when Violeta is present. The white-haired man is left seething with rage. Jolt. He suddenly clutches his arm as blue energy crackles around it. Zap. He unleashes a powerful purple shockwave at the flowers. Back in her room, Lily yawns and apologizes, saying she is too tired to continue. Faltered, she stumbles back, postponing their discussion until the day after tomorrow. Peeking from behind the door, Lily sleepily wishes her good night. Clack. The door closes, leaving an equally exhausted Violeta alone in the grand hallway. Violeta reflects with satisfaction that she managed to relay important information to Lily. Hannah the maid approaches, telling Lady Violeta that she has something to say. She formally addresses Violeta, here to discuss arrangements for a funeral. Shocked, Violeta asks about the funeral, wondering if Hannah is really dead. The maid clarifies that Hannah's grand funeral will be held tomorrow, as suggested by Lady Lily. She asks if she was mistaken in hearing that Lady Violeta would not be attending. Clench, Violeta's hand tightens into a fist as she realizes she was kept in the dark. A sinister vision of Lily appears as Violeta wonders if she caused Hannah's death. Determined, Violeta declares that she cannot simply stand by and do nothing. Dressed in black for the funeral, Violeta wonders how this could have possibly happened. Pallbearers carry a coffin adorned with white lilies, as Lily and Violeta follow behind. Tears stream down Lily's face as she whispers the name Hannah. Onlookers murmur that the deceased was Princess Lily's maid, and that she must have cherished her. Smirk, a brief, hidden smile, reveals the insincerity of her tears. Murmur, a quiet conversation takes place near a small shed in the woods. Lily comforts a grieving older woman who thanks her for the grand funeral for her daughter. Crying, Lily claims Hannah was like a little sister to her and that she was so happy. Hannah's parents are overcome with teary-eyed emotion at her words. Puffed, Lily internally mocks the scene, remembering only how ugly Hannah looked in pain. Addressing Hannah's family, Lily solemnly states that Hannah will forever remain in their hearts. Violeta stands with Hannah's mother in the quiet woods outside the shed. Clack, Lily exits the shed, her part in the performance seemingly over. Gasp! Turn! A blonde boy suddenly grabs Violeta and Hannah's mother from behind, startling them. Sigh, Lily touches up her makeup, knowing Violeta's tears were fake and meant to protect her. A woman named Yumina explains she was Hannah's maid and came with Lady Violeta to lay a wreath. The household maids whisper nervously, knowing Violeta is famously cruel but unable to turn away a princess. Dressed in mourning, Violeta gently touches the hand of the deceased Hannah, lying in her coffin. Siki is shocked, unable to believe a member of the imperial family knelt so readily. Violeta recalls Hannah's talents, from making desserts to perfectly pairing teas, always serving Lily faithfully. She remembers Hannah surrounded by her younger siblings, saving her salary for her family. The memory concludes with Hannah happily presenting a new wagon to her father for his bad back. A blushing Siki wonders why Lady Violeta is so interested in maids as a grieving older woman looks on. Pull! Violeta's hand tugs at the white burial shroud covering Hannah's body. Whir! The magical stone on Violeta's bracelet suddenly begins to glow with a purple light. With wide eyes, Violeta realizes with alarm that her magical item is reacting to something. She suspects Hannah's wounds were from a venomous snake, realizing with horror that Lily was the one who harmed her. As a dark, beastly shadow emanates from her, Violeta rejects a memory of Hannah blaming herself for the incident. Lean, she rests against Siki, filled with regret that she didn't talk to Lily sooner to prevent this. Siki looks on with concern, repeating her words in disbelief. A snake bite? Jolt, Violeta is struck by a sudden, wide-eyed realization. Dash, she runs from the room as Hannah's siblings watch, thinking she must have been a friend who cared deeply. Hannah's parents are left bewildered, unable to understand how Lady Violeta knew such intimate family details. With purpose, Violeta walks away, her form silhouetted against a brilliant white light. Step! Siki hurries after a frantic Violeta, who tells him to wait as she tries to compose herself. Ugh! Clench, she shuts her eyes in a moment of overwhelming emotional pain. She mourns that Hannah's death was never meant to happen, wondering if she missed a bug in the story's design. She resolves to focus on her new mission, make Lily the true heroine and become a proper villain herself. Jolt, Lily suddenly appears right behind Violeta, startling her completely. Fizzle, Lily asks Violeta a favor, requesting she accompany her to the Kingdom of Night, leaving Violeta stunned. Winking cheerfully, Lily holds up a book and declares her intent to win over Prince Majes. The scene shifts to a majestic castle silhouetted against a vast, starry night sky. A brilliant swirl of magical energy fills the air with sparkling light. Russell, Prince Majes arrives on a dragon, as an attendant reminds him he cannot maintain the night magic alone. When asked if he has anyone in mind to help, the prince looks off thoughtfully. His thoughts drift to a vision of a beautiful, smiling woman with long silver hair. Flap, flap, he and his attendant fly off on winged horses as the man praises his successful spell. Just as he decides to return, the prince suddenly stops, sensing something below. His intense purple gaze locks onto something in the dark forest beneath them. He stares down from the sky with a serious, focused expression. Step, he begins to descend as his confused attendant asks what he sees. Chills, The attendant senses an intruder in the woods and instinctively reaches for his weapon. Instead of danger, the prince simply smiles, holding a single white flower he just picked. The attendant stares in disbelief, asking why he's just standing there amidst the tension. The prince calmly announces he's going to make a bouquet, confusing his attendant further. He glances back with a stern look, questioning why the attendant would assume the flowers are for him. A vision flashes of Violeta desperately reaching for something or someone. Violeta instructs a petulant Lily to keep her legs in the cool water and tells her maid Yumina to wait. With her eyes closed, Violeta sits by the water, calmly thinking that everything is now set. She narrates her plan, envisioning the moment the prince invites the girl to his castle. As if summoned, Prince Majes appears before them, and Violeta internally exclaims, "He's here." Lily puts on a perfect performance, greeting Prince Majes with a bright and charmingly surprised expression. Flash, a glowing window announces the beginning of a special event, meeting at the lake. The prince takes in the scene, Lily with her hands clasped, hopefully, and Violeta watching calmly by her side. By the water's edge, Violeta sits alone in the starlight. Siki gently places a blanket over her lap as she thanks him. The two are confronted by Prince Majes and his attendant, with the prince asking, "Is that so?" Stare. The prince eyes Siki with a curious smile while Violeta looks on, confused. Jolt. The attendant gasps with a sudden, wide-eyed realization. Grab. A gloved hand suddenly covers the attendant's face. Squeeze. Prince Majes grips his attendant's head, telling him not to be stupid. Elsewhere, Lily scowls, wondering how they dare to act so cozy with each other. Violeta sits beside the prince, thinking that his awkwardness is part of his charm. With a sinister smile, Lily muses that it would be fun to control a man like him. A glowing magic circle appears, surrounded by floating books and potions. Lily smirks, confident that while Majes may be interested in another now, he'll soon turn to her, the game's main character. She greets Prince Majes with a sweet, welcoming smile. Internally, she seethes at his indifferent tone, forcing a smile while thinking it's frustrating. Her inner frustration explodes in a burst of red. As Lily's smile turns furious, Violeta panics, recognizing the look she gets right before she loses it. Panicked, Violeta resolves to change the mood immediately. Lily addresses the prince, revealing that her sister Violeta has no magic and relies on items from Siki. The prince quietly repeats Siki's name, wondering if he was the man standing beside Violeta. Lily asks if the Night Kingdom knows a way for her sister to gain magic without items. Done, Violeta is horrified, thinking that a heroine isn't supposed to badmouth anyone. She worries that if Lily's behavior lowers Majes' affection, she won't be invited to the castle. In the prince's imagination, a tiny, demonic Siki demands to know what the prince said. Believing this is a perfect opportunity, Prince Majes invites them to his castle to continue their talk. Violeta is completely baffled, wondering how the conversation took this turn. Overjoyed, Lily clasps her hands together and thanks him enthusiastically. They fly over a magnificent castle in the night sky as their escort announces their arrival. Prince Majes helps Violeta down from the dragon's back. Lily watches with a silent glare, questioning why they rode together. She approaches them, calling out to Prince Majes. She innocently claims she's never ridden a dragon, but Violeta internally calls her out, thinking, there she goes again, Yuri's lying. Yuri gushes about how amazing it was, hoping to ride the dragon again. She boldly reaches out to touch the dragon's chin. The men watch in alarm as Siki thinks that touching a dragon's chin without permission is dangerous. A dark burst of energy signifies that she will be seen as an enemy. Her hand misses its mark, leaving her surprised. With glowing red eyes, Violeta coldly declares, "Lily, you're so ignorant." A stunned Yuri looks up at Violeta's menacing smile, wondering what just happened. Yuri feigns innocence, claiming she was only trying to be friendly. Violeta screams internally with frustration, realizing she has no other choice. Prince Majes is shocked, realizing he heard Violeta's voice through the dragon and wondering how it's possible. Violeta calmly places her own hand on the dragon's snout. Spark. The dragon's eyes flash blue before it unleashes a mighty roar of golden fire. Violeta stands serenely, completely untouched by the swirling flames. Her red eyes are calm and focused within the inferno. Prince Majes and his attendant can only stare in utter disbelief. The flames subside, revealing Violeta standing tall over a fallen Yuri. Tusk, Yuri glares up at her from the ground, muttering, HMPH, show off. Lean, the massive dragon gently leans its head towards a questioning Violeta. She touches a hairpin in her hair, recognizing it as being made from a dragon scale. The narrator explains the dragon scale hairpin is a rare and very difficult item to obtain. Prince Majes clarifies that his dragon was so impressed by Violeta's bravery in protecting her sister that it gifted her the hairpin. He looks upon her with a gentle and understanding smile. A blonde-haired person greets the prince, who smiles down at them as Lily happily exclaims her agreement. The blonde-haired person calls out to Lady Violeta, causing her to turn around in surprise. Apologizing for the timing, the blonde-haired person asks Violeta for a moment of her time, leaving her confused. The elegant dragon-scale hairpin shines with a brilliant, magical light. Overcome with joy, Violeta blushes and breaks into a radiant smile. Her happiness fades to confusion as the blonde-haired person comments that she makes the scariest expressions. Violeta shuts her eyes in frustration, thinking this is a problem and that being a villain is harder than she thought. The blonde-haired person smiles, observing that Violeta seems to be a mix of both night and day. Flustered, Violeta insists she has bad thoughts daily, but her cute denial is met with a quiet chuckle. The blonde-haired person proposes they pretend to be a poor maid bullied by the evil Lady Violeta, and Violeta agrees to the plan. Elsewhere, Lily walks with Prince Majes through the elegant castle grounds, remarking what a wonderful place it is. She asks the prince to show her around, adding coyly that she has something she wants to ask him. Prince Majes tells her to ask whatever she likes, as Lily begins her question about the item that protected Violeta. She asks if the man named Siki, shown in a magical vision, was the one who made the item for her sister. Lily's expression twists into a cunning, manipulative smirk. She sweetly reminds the prince that they came to the castle to discuss her sister, Violeta. Turned, she pivots and calls out impatiently for Violeta to hurry. Raised, Violeta lifts the hem of her gown and replies that she's on her way. Standing with a powerful, glowing aura, Violeta calmly tells Lily it's unseemly for a princess to raise her voice. Lily watches her sister, her lips curling into a faint, sinister smile. Now seated, Lily looks away with an expression of complete boredom. Prince Majes observes the interaction between the sisters with a solemn, unreadable gaze. In a moment of transition, Violeta is pictured elegantly in a flowing blue gown, framed by roses. Poof! Dash! A woman with light purple hair says, "Thank you," as a tiny chibi version of Prince Majes suddenly appears. Lily walks beside Violeta, happily announcing that Prince Majes promised to get them new dresses. She enthusiastically grabs Violeta's hand, a bright light shining between them. The unspoken invitation hangs in the air. Let's go get changed together. In a grand dressing room, Lily admires the selection of dresses and asks Violeta for her opinion. Violeta is secretly overjoyed, proud that her designs for the Kingdom of Night turned out so wonderful. Shove! Lily roughly pushes the giddy Violeta aside with an oof. Loom! A dark shadow falls over Lily's face as she reminds herself to act like the villainous Violeta, startling the real one. Playing her part, Violeta looks in a mirror with disdain, calling the dresses plain and demanding something more luxurious. Lily coldly dismisses the maids, telling them they can leave. From a high angle, someone vehemently objects, shouting that they can't do that. Lily's demeanor shifts to sweet innocence as she requests a cup of delicious tea from the maids. She glances over her shoulder with a sly, triumphant smile. A chibi Violeta excitedly shows various dresses to a thoroughly unimpressed Lily. Feigning a smile, Violeta asks Lily what she's doing. Violeta thinks this is a boring event and wonders why Lily even asked her to come to the dressing room. Lily smiles charmingly, telling Violeta to just explain how to beat this event, and Violeta reluctantly agrees. Violeta explains the first step is to choose the dress Majes prefers to increase his affection level. Next, she must impress him with a musical performance. Finally, this will lead to a romantic meeting under the full moon. Violeta concludes that this path will secure a promise for them to meet again. With her arms crossed, Lily asks which dress Majes would actually prefer. A stunning deep purple gown with intricate lace is presented as the correct choice. Sparkle, as she holds up the purple dress, a confused Lily remarks that it looks the same as the others. With a radiant smile, Lily expresses her pure joy. Knock knock, as the sisters have tea, Lily answers the door. Clack, Prince Majes enters the room, excusing his interruption. Wearing the new purple gown, Lily gratefully thanks him and asks for his opinion. He tells her it suits her, and she clasps her hands in delight. Pleased, Violeta thinks this will surely increase his affection level for Lily. When no notification appears, Violeta wonders why the game system isn't responding. Prince Majes stares at Violeta, who is silently lamenting her own plain dress. Whisper, Lily leans in to share a secret with the prince. Citing an upcoming full moon ceremony, Prince Majes invites both sisters to attend. Lily accepts the invitation with a bright, charming smile. The scene shifts to the magnificent moonlit castle grounds where the ceremony will be held. As onlookers identify Princess Lily, she walks confidently toward the event. Lily gets the prince's attention, pulling on his cloak as he looks down, questioning. Worried that her dress isn't suitable, Lily feigns insecurity, prompting Prince Majes to awkwardly reassure her that it looks good. A close-up reveals Lily's confident and calculating smile. Lily stands tall, looking pleased with her successful performance. Violeta mentally praises Yuri's ability to charm people, certain his affection has been won. Prince Majes stands alone under the full moon, his expression solemn and distant. Bottom, his heart pounds as he catches Lily, their faces close. He denies her request, insisting that their meeting must be private. As Prince Majes leads her away, Lily flashes a triumphant smirk. With glowing eyes, Prince Majes confronts her, demanding to know why she poisoned the Emperor's glass. Her facade shatters, replaced by an expression of pure, wide-eyed terror. Fish, she gasps, as he suddenly grabs her. He coldly tells her to stop her fake smiles, demanding she confess the truth. His gaze is unwavering as he insists she tell him everything. Cornered, Lily begins to mumble an excuse. Her demeanor shifts instantly to a sweet and sorrowful one, claiming she only wanted to protect her sister. As he remains silent, she continues her lie, saying she tried to stop Violeta but failed. Confused, the prince asks what she's talking about, and she prepares to reveal the truth. Glow, she presents a shining book, declaring that all the answers are in her sister's diary. Flap, he takes the diary and begins to read. The diary entry details Violeta's supposed resentment over having no magic and her decision to brainwash Siki for power. It continues, describing how constant ridicule twisted her heart into a vessel of pure resentment. The diary reveals a plan to make the Emperor suffer excruciating but non-lethal pain with poison. The entry concludes that her kind father, the Emperor, would surely understand her suffering. According to the diary, the plan failed when Lily discovered it, forcing Violeta to drink the poison herself to hide the evidence. The entry expresses deep envy for the beloved Lily and accuses Majes of looking down on her too. In a final desperate entry, the diary screams with hatred for Lily, wishing for her death. Stunned by the contents, Prince Majes can only stare at the book in disbelief. He reads a final, chilling instruction from Violeta to keep her actions a secret. Gasp! The prince reels from the shocking revelations. With a sinister smile, Lily thinks to herself how easily her plan worked. She inwardly celebrates, glad she forced Violeta to write the fake diary. In a flashback, Lily reviews her plan, confident that Siki's information will make her invincible. The blonde-haired Sehi recalls how the real Violeta's paranoid diary once turned everyone against her. A chibi Lily scoffs at the developer for almost forgetting such an important plot point, which a panicked chibi Violeta agrees to write immediately. A victorious chibi Lily beams, incredibly proud of her own cleverness. Lily tearfully claims she was only trying to cover up her sister's mistake. Prince Majes refuses to believe her, but Lily insists he must be shocked by the truth. He internally denies the possibility, certain Violeta would never write such things. He continues reading the diary, his expression hardening with suspicion. As he thinks the diary sounds like it was written as an explanation, Lily realizes with a smirk that she's been busted. He tells Lily that in the Kingdom of Night, what one sees isn't always the truth. He explains that his people rely on listening, touch, and their hearts to perceive the world. Continuing, he reveals he can sense a strange malice within the diary, suspecting Violeta was threatened. He thinks of Violeta, recalling her image as a beautiful woman in a white dress. He concludes his thought, believing her to be the most innocent and beautiful woman in the world. Blush, he grows flustered by his own heartfelt admission. Elsewhere, Violeta vows that she won't let Lily have mages either. Back on the balcony, Lily tells Majes his words have inspired her to be strong. She proposes they find the person who manipulated her sister, but questions why they must meet again formally. Snap! She breaks a dandelion stem, declaring it's the proper order of things. She smiles, thinking it's because she doubted her own sister's intentions. After a moment of silence, Prince Majes simply says, "All right." Lily looks up at him hopefully, holding a small bouquet of dandelions. He coldly tells her it's not possible and turns away, questioning her behavior. Surrounded by a powerful aura, Majes declares that no one can have what is his, as Lily smirks, disgusted by the thought. The scene shifts to the grand palace under a starry sky with 3 moons. Seated on a throne, Violeta wonders how things are going between Lily and Majes. Crack! Her calm expression shifts as a sound shatters the silence. The world before her cracks like glass, shattering her vision. Roar! A massive crystalline dragon emerges from the fractured reality with a growl. Confused, she questions what is happening, realizing a critical game event has been triggered. She screams in terror, understanding that Majes has just entered the route to his bad ending. The scene shows a massive dragon statue in the center of the castle courtyard. Flap! Majes soars on a winged mount, shouting for his people to be protected. Violeta realizes, in horror, that she was right. Majes is on the path to ruin. As she watches winged beasts swarm the castle, Lily stands beside her and thinks, interesting. Giggle, Lily happily reads from the very diary that caused the chaos. Violeta confronts her, asking what happened, but Lily simply acknowledges that she followed the instructions. Lily looks up from the book, pondering the details of Majes' bad ending. She reads that the protective barrier over the Kingdom of Night shatters. The people, vulnerable to the light, begin to panic as it painfully dissolves their bodies. She continues reading, explaining how the prince absorbs all the uncontrolled magic to save them. The text concludes that he is consumed by the vicious magic, resulting in a bad ending. Violeta argues that she gave Lily the happy ending answers to prevent this exact fate. Lily smiles triumphantly, thinking that thanks to Violeta, she knew exactly what to do to cause it. Horrified by the revelation, Violeta covers her mouth in shock. Crackle? She looks up as the sky fills with magical beasts and chaotic energy. Zap! Majes unleashes a powerful magic circle, vowing that the creatures will not pass. The air fills with the desperate screams of the people below. Gasp! The prince's eye widens in strain and determination. Looking down at the chaos in the courtyard, he screams in anguish, "No!" Fesh, as dark magic engulfs the grounds, a guard informs Majes that the kingdom's magic is out of control while the prince groans in pain. Majes realizes that only the royal family can restore the protective barrier and that his soldiers are helpless. First, he prepares to make the ultimate sacrifice, gathering the spiraling dark magic into his own body. A royal aide begs Prince Majes to stop, warning him of the danger of gathering so much magic. Dash, as the prince walks into a blinding light, the aide reaches out desperately, pleading for him to wait. A desperate cry echoes through the chaos. "Prince Majes!" Stomp! Violeta lands in the courtyard, apologizing for her late arrival. The aide collapses amidst the encroaching darkness, weakly pleading for the prince to save them. Standing over the fallen man, Majes commands him not to move and to live. Before grunting in pain from the magic he's absorbing, he closes his eyes, enduring the immense strain of his sacrifice. Fesh! He draws all the corrupting dark magic from the palace grounds into himself, screaming in agony. The citizens realize their own magic is vanishing, but the prince is taking it all. They resolve that they must stop him. Overwhelmed by pain, Majes screams at his people, "Don't come near me." His guards watch in horror as a dark aura engulfs him, worrying what will become of him. Fosh, forcing a smile through the pain, he reassures them that he won't die. He sees a mother holding her laughing child, affirming that their survival is all he needs. With tears in his eyes and a pained smile, he reaches forward as his body is consumed by dark energy. Flash! A blinding white light erupts, cleansing the palace courtyard. The people kneel in the now peaceful courtyard, saved from the darkness. All that remains on the pristine white tiles are ominous black traces. Rush! Violeta runs through a corridor, following the dark trail left behind. She follows the fading black footprints down a long, empty hallway. The trail leads to the dark, collapsed silhouette of Prince Majes. Dash! She runs to his side, desperately calling his name and telling him to wake up. Fesh, as she reaches for him, she realizes with a groan that it's too late. The system explains that once a character enters their bad ending, no more choices are offered, showing Majes lying motionless. Tearing up, Violeta frantically wonders how she can possibly save him now. Shine, the jewel on her choker begins to glow brightly, surprising her. A massive glowing spirit resembling a bunny with floppy ears materializes beside her. Startled by the sudden appearance of the spirit, she can only manage a confused, "Huh." As Majes lies unconscious, Violeta panics, desperately trying to think of a solution. In a vision of a flowery field, the silver-haired Siki embraces her as she calls out his name. Whoosh! Siki materializes beside her in a swirl of dark energy. With determined eyes, he assesses the situation as Violeta thinks they can't leave the prince like this. She turns to Siki and anxiously asks if there's any way to save Majes. A thought bubble explains that the spirit is a cheat item that can change its purpose in response to Siki's powerful mind. Holding the glowing spirit, she asks Siki if he can use his magical item to save the prince. Siki looks down at Violeta with a somber expression, remaining silent. Confused by his hesitation, she urgently pleads for his help. Mumble, Siki blushes slightly, asking her to stop speaking so formally and just talk as she normally would. Gasp, she questions what he means by normally and is struck by a memory of her past, more commanding self. Flinch, Siki appears to recoil at the memory. The vision reveals her former self dominating him, demanding he obey her orders as her slave. Batum, his heart pounds as he blushes deeply and declares that her wish is his command. Whir, he raises his hand, summoning an intricate and powerful magic circle. Glow, the bunny-like spirit shines brightly as Siki prepares to cast his spell, with Violeta watching intently. Raise, Siki's hand pulses with blue light as he focuses his power. Whoosh, a brilliant beam of energy shoots from his hand and strikes Majes' body. Crack, instead of healing him, the magic causes sharp purple crystals to burst from the prince's leg. Crack, the crystals rapidly multiply, encasing Majes' unconscious body in a thorny prison. Swing, Siki calmly forms a blade of pure energy in his hand as Violeta watches in horror. The royal aide rushes in, demanding to know what they are doing, and furiously ordering them away from the prince. Siki responds with nothing more than a faint, knowing smirk. The aide angrily demands what Siki finds so funny, questioning if he's a demon as Siki raises a crystalline blade. Siki's eyes glow as he coldly warns he won't forgive anyone who speaks rudely to his mistress, making the aide gulp in fear. Whoosh! A brilliant flash of light reveals Prince Majes floating, now completely encased in glowing purple crystals. Shatter, the crystal prison breaks apart, and the prince's unconscious body falls to the ground. Siki calmly watches the dissipating crystal shards, his work seemingly complete. Rush! The royal aide hurries to the prince's side, crying out, "Your Highness." Leaning over the prince, the aide realizes in disbelief that the dark magic Majes absorbed is disappearing. Phew! Violeta clasps her hands in relief, thankful that the prince should now be okay. Siki explains that the out-of-control magic inside Majes was purified by the crystals. He then presents a melted-looking silver object, admitting he'd planned to use a creature against the prince, whom he'd mistaken for a villain harassing Violeta. A stunned chibi Violeta questions the bunny spirit's power as it drools with a menacing expression. Siki laughs, explaining he simply returned the prince's magic to avoid future trouble. As a relieved Violeta looks on, Prince Majes sits up, his expression somber as he recovers. Siki smiles faintly, musing that the prince has more grit than he anticipated. A tiny Violeta begins to thank Siki, but catches herself mid-sentence. Bottom, she smirks and tells him he did all right for a fool, causing a chibi Siki to be struck by Cupid's arrow. Ach! Siki blushes furiously with a pounding heart, insisting it wasn't a compliment and he was just following orders. He looks at her with earnest eyes, asking if he can say something. Surrounded by a floral aura, he shyly tells Violeta he's proud to have her as his magic craftsman. Violeta's expression turns serious, as she remembers the frozen dragon is still a threat and urges them to hurry. Elsewhere, a red-haired man wreathed in flames vows to finally end his fight with the frozen dragon. Boom boom, a fiery beast and an ice dragon clash in a starry sky as a pink-haired woman watches from a distance. The pink-haired woman smiles fondly, observing that Lance is quite strong. She finds it exciting that such a powerful man has fallen for her. Wreathed in fire, Lance confronts the frozen dragon, declaring it won't win this time. Vroom, the crystalline frozen dragon charges a powerful beam of energy. Blaze, Lance's eyes burn with fiery determination as he prepares to counter. Kaboom, he unleashes a massive fiery explosion toward his opponent. Assessing the attack's power, Lance dodges and whoosh, summons a brilliant sword of light. A shard of ice narrowly misses his face as the battle intensifies. Russell, his red hair flows as he focuses intently on the battle. Vroom, the frozen dragon unleashes its powerful frozen breath attack. Glow, Lance gathers a ball of light, resolving to fight head-on this time instead of running. Kaboom, he casts a massive magic circle, unleashing his full power against the dragon. Whoosh, his magical assault collides with the dragon's icy blast in a flurry of energy. His expression turns grim as he apologizes, declaring this is the end of their road. Vroom, for everyone who supports him, he unleashes a powerful slash, determined not to be defeated. Fish, he flies past a colossal ice spire, formed by the dragon's power. Lance's expression is resolute as he faces the overwhelming power of his foe. Shatter, his blade of light breaks upon impact with the dragon's defense. He looks at his broken sword, apologizing for pushing it too far and thanking it for its service. Whoosh! Seeing a wave of frost spread across the ground below, he decides it's time to rescue people. Kaboom! A massive eruption of ice energy tears through the battlefield. Whoosh! A gigantic ice crystal plummets from the sky, causing the people below to stare in terror. A shocked Lance realizes the dragon still had power remaining. As massive ice columns begin to fall, Violeta frantically tells everyone to take cover under the roof. The pink-haired woman falters, discovering with horror that her body is paralyzed. Boom! Colossal shards of ice rain down upon the palace grounds. Drip! A single drop of blood falls, followed by more. The pink-haired woman looks up, her face a mask of pure shock and horror. The pink-haired woman is caught by a fiery Lance, weakly calling his name. Lance looks down at her with concern, asking if she is hurt. Bottom, her heart pounds as she looks at him with worried eyes. He claims he's fine, but she points to a bloody wound on his shoulder. He dismisses the injury with a smile, but she remains anxious. Whoosh! She insists on healing him, telling him to stay still. Glow, her hands shine with healing magic over his wound. He smiles down at her, watching her cast the spell. Bottom, surrounded by roses, he thanks Lily for her kindness. Badum, she blushes and says it was nothing, her own heart racing. Turn, Lance looks away suddenly, asking if Prince Majes and Lady Violeta are safe. Lily realizes she forgot about them, callously thinking she doesn't care if they die. Peeking from behind Lance, she spots something in the distance. Lily stares in shock as a powerful magic shield envelops Violeta and the others, jealously wondering why Violeta gets to save men. A stunned Violeta realizes a powerful shield has formed, an event that only occurs when the male leads unite. She can't believe she gets to witness such a rare and powerful event. Whoosh! The magical shield expands to protect everyone, impressing her with its power. Trembling, Lance asks if anyone is hurt as Majes groans in pain beside him. Yell, an angry Majes shouts at a stunned Lance. Siki scoffs, telling Lance that his weak magic couldn't have protected Violeta anyway. Lance tries to make peace, but Majes and Siki privately seethe with annoyance at his attitude. Sparkle, a delighted Violeta asks when the two became such good friends. Her question leaves all three men speechless and utterly shocked. She turns her bright, adoring eyes to Siki, calling out his name. The three men react with awkward embarrassment to her praise. Siki explains to Majes that the shield was an involuntary act born from their shared desire to protect Violeta. Violeta looks on, acknowledging that the shield is indeed a rare event requiring extreme conditions. Lance gives Lady Violeta a warm, reassuring smile. A delighted Violeta cheekily thinks all she needs is to be in danger again. Horrified, Siki and Majes both shout at her not to even think about it. She apologizes with a guilty expression, admitting she got a little excited. Kneeling, Majes confesses that the thought of her being hurt shatters his heart. Violeta looks toward Siki, agreeing with Majes' sentiment and feeling the same way. She realizes the thought of any of them being hurt causes her immense pain. Siki stubbornly refuses to apologize for his earlier outburst, making Violeta sigh. She accepts that just as she treasures them, they have all been protecting her in return. Siki stands alone, his expression determined and somber against a floral background. Violeta recalls that Lily pushed Majes toward a bad end, resolving she must be stopped. She vows to control Lily completely, like a puppet, to prevent future chaos. Siki notices a hole in the sky's barrier and volunteers to fix it, but Violeta stops him with newfound resolve Violeta declares that she will be the one to go. Siki protests, reminding her that her body hasn't fully recovered yet. Majes steps forward, explaining that only the Night Kingdom's royal family has the power to restore the barrier. Siki stares in shock, asking how she could possibly know that name. Panicked, Violeta realizes she shouldn't know the name of Majes' dragon yet. She quickly lies, claiming she saw the dragon's name on immigration papers. Majes praises her good memory as Violeta forces a nervous laugh. Beams of light shine down upon a grand palace tower in the night. The people watch in awe as a dragon descends, one of them admiring its beauty. Flying toward the rift in the sky, the dragon's rider announces their arrival. Vroom, a winged, white-haired woman summons a powerful, ornate sword. With hands outstretched, she fiercely commands the catastrophe to be defeated. Flash, a brilliant golden phoenix emerges from a magic circle, holding a cosmic orb. The celestial phoenix descends, presenting the glowing orb to the winged woman. She watches its approach with a gentle, satisfied smile. Crack, the starry orb held by the phoenix begins to fracture. Foosh, the orb shatters, unleashing a torrent of cosmic energy. Fash, as the energy fades, she flies alone through the serene, starry sky. On the ground below, Majes, Lance, and Siki look up in awe and relief. Wiping away a tear, she gratefully acknowledges that the Night Kingdom has been saved. Majes smiles softly as children below cheer in wonder at her flight. The scene shifts to a grand palace hall, where the white-haired woman stands alone. She nervously holds a mug, a single bead of sweat on her brow. Across the table, Majes encourages her to drink up, but she hesitates. He explains it's a terrible but healthy tea from his kingdom, but she panics, knowing its gross contents too well. Gasp, she stares in wide-eyed shock, her cover nearly blown. Her mind flashes to the ancient magic, recalling that its inheritors and knowledge are long forgotten. Majes looks at her with growing suspicion, silently wondering who she really is. A soft cascade of light particles fills the air, marking a thoughtful pause. Leaning forward, he presses her for an answer with an intense gaze. She panics internally, knowing she can't possibly admit she created this world. She suddenly remembers that she designed an event for acquiring this very magic. She quickly lies, claiming she learned about the ancient magic from his dragon, Ganal. When she asks if they can sense each other, a stunned Majes demands to know how she knew. She explains that they told her, recalling a secret shared between a person and the dragon. Majes listens as she sits across from him, now blindfolded. She speaks a phrase in an ancient runic language. Majes looks on with a serious, unreadable expression. She reflects on how she meticulously created every piece of this world through trial and error. A brief flashback shows her former self, a developer with glasses, reviewing her work. Clench, she strengthens her resolve, believing this knowledge will let her defeat Choi Yuri. Majes' concerned voice cuts through her thoughts, calling her name. She turns her head, her expression somber and determined. He looks at her with a soft, blushing gaze, his concern evident. She asks Majes for a pen and paper, and he quietly agrees. Clack, he pushes his chair back to retrieve the items for her. Returning, he hands her the paper, his expression surprised by her request. Rustle, she adjusts the ruffled sleeve of her dress, preparing herself. As she moves to write, she is framed by an aura of white flower petals. Batum watching her, Majes' heart pounds as he blushes in surprise. Holding the pen, her eyes begin to glow with a brilliant golden light. Scritch, as she begins writing, a nervous Majes gulps while watching her. He watches her work with intense focus, deciding it's best not to interrupt. A parallel is drawn between her writing now and her past self-typing on a keyboard. The imagery continues, contrasting the scritch of her pen with the tap of her keyboard. Her present and past selves are shown working back-to-back, creators in two different worlds. She recalls how unexpected events and new character paths have diverged from her original designs. Pondering if these changes are a bug, she notes that her previous checks found nothing significant. She theorizes that her and another's possession of characters may have created a new unforeseen bug. Merged with an image of her former self, she deeply contemplates what their existence truly means for this world. A grand, illuminated castle stands against a starry night sky. Step. The dark-haired Prince Majes and a white-haired man enter a lavish hall. Sigh. The white-haired man angrily declares that as a loyal servant, he would never interfere with her work. He worries, wondering what he would do if she collapsed inside. He peeks into a study, where a long-haired woman is diligently writing at her desk. In profile, the white-haired woman looks elegant and completely absorbed in her task. The white-haired man wonders why she can't hear him and is so intensely focused. Framed by golden flowers, he admits he can't take his eyes off her. Prince Majes waits patiently with his arms crossed, a solemn look on his face. Click, clack, the white-haired man finds the door is locked when he tries to open it. He realizes that the other man must have noticed that Violeta is acting differently than usual. As the woman continues her work, he wonders what could be occupying her thoughts so deeply. Beam, a gray-haired man named Kai appears, smiling brightly as Prince Majes asks why he is so happy. Prince Majes looks up with a hint of amusement. Clamor, bustle, a massive crowd gathers excitedly before a grand estate. Step. Prince Majes appears on a balcony, and the crowd below cheers his name. He thanks his people for gathering and asks what they wish to show him. A person in the crowd asks if everyone is ready for the surprise. A hand lifts a glowing dandelion into the air. Prince Majes looks out over a dazzling sea of lights held by the crowd. The citizens, young and old, joyfully raise their glowing dandelions together. Overcome with emotion, Prince Majes smiles warmly at the beautiful display. He thinks that this happiness is all thanks to Violeta, feeling eternally grateful to her. Announcing the start of the banquet, he is met with a loud "Yay" from the crowd. Standing beside him, the pink-haired Lily expresses her relief that everyone is safe. Gasp! The red-haired Prince Lance suddenly pulls Lily back, telling her it's not the right time. Prince Majes invites Prince Lance to the balcony, saying the people also wish to thank him. Raise! Prince Lance gestures for a surprised Lily to join him. Prince Majes presents both Prince Lance and Lily to the waiting crowd. Cheer! The people shout their thanks to Prince Lance. Prince Majes looks on, remarking on how beautiful and wonderful the scene is. Wave! Cheer! Prince Lance smiles and waves to his admirers. A guest wonders if the woman beside him is the goddess of light, startling both princes. The crowd recognizes Princess Lily and thanks her, but she begins to deny it. Both Prince Lance and Prince Majes look on with concern. Smile, cheer, Lily suddenly changes her demeanor and graciously accepts the crowd's praise. Prince Lance and Prince Majes look at her in stunned silence. Prince Lance turns to Lily, questioning her sudden change of heart. Lily explains it would be unwise to confuse the people after they just overcame a scary event together. Smiling sweetly, she promises to relay their beautiful messages to her sister. The red-haired prince reluctantly says, "All right." Prince Majes finds Princess Lily's explanation logical, but feels something is still amiss. He recalls past uneasiness, Violeta's desperation, and Lily's strange report, suspecting something is going on between them. He reflects on Violeta's recent intense focus, seeing her as a goddess of knowledge and wondering what she will achieve. A sinister version of the pink-haired woman wonders if her target is Lily Crispell. Clack, clack, the sound of footsteps makes Prince Majes turn his head. Clack, he sees Violeta and the white-haired man stepping out onto the balcony. He says Violeta's name in surprise, which gets her attention. Rush, Prince Lance moves protectively in front of Lily. A thought reveals Lily's kind intention. She can't expose Violeta as the true goddess, but wants to show her the people's gratitude. A smiling Lily reassures the white-haired woman. Majes watches them, his expression unreadable and silent. Lily reflects that Lance is her most precious person after their recent talk. Beaming, Lily speaks excitedly as Violeta admits she's a little afraid of her enthusiasm. Confused by the sudden change, Lily asks what's wrong, as Lance and Majes look on in surprise. Startled, Majes questions Violeta about her sudden plan to visit the underground historical site. Violeta declares her intention to break the curse that turned him into a dragon, the Cursed Heart. Badum! A vision shows a glowing blue heart, bound by magical chains. Badum! The heavy chains pulse with a dark, magical energy. The scene shifts to the entrance of the underground historical site, Heliosphere. Step, step. The cloaked group descends into the darkness, led by Majes and his lantern. Flutter, squeak, squeak. A bat startles Lily, who cries out and clings to Lance. Majes offers to take the lead, and a grateful Lily thanks him. Whoosh! He summons a powerful, glowing purple barrier to protect them. Lily flashes him a grateful smile as he remains quiet. Turn. Majes whirls around, sensing the barrier around Violeta has suddenly broken. Crackle, he sees Siki protecting Violeta with a crackling energy shield. HMPH, Siki offers a smug, insincere apology. Frown, Majes glares back, clearly annoyed. Smirk, Siki turns away with a triumphant expression. Siki calls out to Lady Violeta, who then instructs him to use magic so only Lily can hear her. Siki listens in silence, his expression serious. Vroom, ring, Violeta begins casting a subtle communication spell. Lily is shocked to hear Violeta's voice in her head, amazed by such an overpowered ability. Annoyed, Lily inwardly questions why she should help break the curse on Majes. Violeta explains that breaking the curse will maximize Majes' affection for the one who does it. Lily muses that she can finally win Majes, recalling how she once tried to engineer an unhappy end for him. She thinks about how he survived and blames someone named Sehi for stealing her man. While she plans to marry Lance, she admits she can't stand seeing Majes and Violeta together. With renewed resolve, she vows to make Majes fall in love with her this time. Sigh. Violeta seems to sense Lily's thoughts and lets out a quiet sigh. Whoosh. She and Siki exchange a knowing glance as he wonders what they discussed. Siki reflects on Violeta's surprising decision, admitting she never fails to dazzle him. He acknowledges that her vision extends far beyond his own. Blushing, he thinks to himself that Lady Violeta is incredible. Loom. The group arrives in a vast chamber as Violeta announces their destination. Thump thump, the cursed heart pulses with an ominous blue light. Majes warns everyone to keep their distance, as the curse's power is lethal up close. As Siki notes the oppressive aura, Lance remarks on the incredible magic used to create the curse. Majes reveals that even the best shamans have failed to break it, despite his many attempts. Lily steps forward, claiming she read in an old history book that healing magic is the key. Her eyes well up with feigned tears as she prepares to act. She inwardly recalls this plotline, one she forced her coworker Sehi to add to the game. She remembers the scene she designed. Lily Dobbs suffers bravely, making every man fall for her. Lance tries to stop her, but she insists she is the only one who can break the curse. Her plea leaves him stunned and hesitant. Caress, he gently touches her cheek and reluctantly agrees, telling her to be careful. Tap, she pushes away Majes' concerned hand and raises her own, telling him not to move. Whoosh, she unleashes her magic, a massive spell circle forming around the cursed heart. She smirks with confidence, thinking to herself how easy this will be. Slither, dark, thorny vines erupt from the cursed heart and snake toward Lily, who cries out in shock. No! Lily recoils in agony as Lance worries she can't hold on, but Majes explains that she must wait as the curse is slowly purified. Gritting her teeth, she demands someone do something, shocked that the real Lily could have ever endured such pain. Tremble, she wants to stop as the thorny vines writhe around her hand. Grab, just as she gives up, another hand firmly grasps hers. What are you doing? Lily flinches as a vision of Violeta appears beside her, ordering her to get a grip and keep going because she can't stop now. Do a pained Lily, asks Violeta if she feels any pain. Squeeze! Violeta admits that she does as she tightens her grip. Whoosh! Violeta wonders if Sehi has gone mad. Lily is stunned that Sehi can endure the agony of the curse. Fish, the dark thorny magic recedes from the cursed heart. Ugh! Both Lily and Violeta cry out as the curse's power fades. Glow, freed from the thorns, the heart shines with a brilliant blue light. Flash, Majes touches his chest, remarking that it feels hot. Shatter. The glowing blue chains binding Majes' heart break apart. Baitum. Clutching his chest, he feels his heart has become light. Panting, Lily confirms that the curse has been broken. A concerned Lance rushes to Lily's side, asking to see her injuries. Coof. Violeta coughs, covering her mouth with a blackened, cursed hand. Looking at his own clear hand, Majes tells her she should see a doctor quickly. Siki steps in, telling Majes he should say something to Lily first. Majes turns to Lily and formally thanks her. Lily smiles demurely, saying it was no big deal and she's glad his curse is broken. Starer, Violeta silently watches the exchange. V-Womb, Baitum, a system window announces that Prince Mage's affection for Violeta has leveled up as he blushes, asking why she's looking at him that way. Violeta notes that his affection level for her is being displayed and is somehow higher than his affection for Lily, who actually broke the curse. Sigh, she concludes this is all she can learn from the Night Kingdom. Dizzy, her vision suddenly blurs as a bead of sweat runs down her face. Turning to Siki, she quietly asks if she can borrow his shoulder for a moment. Item, Siki blushes furiously, shocked that Lady Violeta wants to lean on him. Stagger, she starts to fall toward a surprised Siki. Majes catches her, holding her steady as she looks up at him, startled. She thanks him and says she'll just lean on him for a moment. Majes notices she seems like a completely different person from a moment ago. Lance urges Lily that they must treat her injured hand immediately. Lily addresses Prince Majes, asking if people from the Night Kingdom are still in the castle. She looks on with a determined, gentle expression. As she walks toward a grand balcony, she announces to her people that she has news. Looking down at a massive crowd, Majes announces that the cursed heart has been tormenting the royal family for generations. Cheer, he smiles as he declares that the curse has been lifted. He proudly presents Princess Lily of the Crystal Empire as the crowd cheers, calling her a goddess of light. Addressing the crowd, Lily thanks them for their support. Glow, brilliant light magic erupts from her as she stands on the balcony, dazzling the crowd below. Sparkle, a young boy in the crowd, looks up in awe, remarking on the beautiful sight. Cheer, Majes watches as the crowd proclaims that Lily must be a saint. Wobble, having used too much magic, Lily stumbles on the balcony. Majes catches her, telling her to be careful as she thanks him with a smile. Wow, watching them, a group of young men exclaims how beautiful they look together and shout for Princess Lily to marry Prince Majes. Lance watches the scene unfold with a pained, bittersweet smile. Chuckle. From a distance, Siki watches Violeta with a knowing smirk. With a beaming smile, Lily turns to a shocked Violeta and calls her sister. Murmur onlookers react with open-mouthed shock. Majes glares down, demanding to know what Lily is doing. Lance looks on, his expression one of pure astonishment. Violeta and Siki stand together, watching the unfolding scene with grim faces. Whisper, Lily coyly asks Majes if he is in love with the notoriously vicious Princess Violeta as onlookers gossip. The scene shifts to a majestic, sprawling city known as the Earth Kingdom. Clack. A high-heeled boot stops just short of a startled commoner. A young man with blonde hair vows that he will never forgive that princess. The grand landscape of the Earth Kingdom is shown once more. Murmur, inside a grand hall, a council of men whispers amongst themselves. Whisper, two men at the table admit they don't recognize the newcomer. A confident young man with blonde hair sits on a throne, wondering if he is a new nobleman. He throws his head back and laughs with delight. As a councilman falls from his chair in anger, the blonde man asks what's wrong, while another shouts about his insolence. Creak, an unseen woman says they are the insolent ones, but supposes it can't be helped. A narrator explains the tradition. When a prince is born in the Earth Kingdom, he is sent abroad to live as a commoner, only to return just before he comes of age. A confused councilman looks on, questioning if he is his father. Burst, the king makes a grand entrance as the council addresses him as Your Majesty. The king confirms the young man is his incompetent son. The young man cheerfully introduces himself as Prince Eldute. He strikes a dramatic pose, confusing a councilman while thinking seriously to himself. Sigh, the king admits it was too early to bring his son back, but he had no other choice. Murmur, a council member asks why they were all summoned so urgently. The king grips his throne and tells everyone to listen carefully. He explains that the ruler has the power to fuse with the earth, to heal and protect the world. The councilmen agree, calling the power their pride and joy, used by past kings to save the world. The king reveals the power isn't eternal and must be passed to the next king when it weakens. Clench, he clasps his hands, believing his time is near, as he can feel the earth murmuring. Flinch, one of the men recoils in shock while Prince Eldute remains unfazed. The king warns that if this duty is neglected, the world will crumble, but he cannot leave the throne empty. Murmur, a shocked councilman, asks if His Majesty truly plans to fuse with the earth. Another man expresses his disbelief that the time has already come. Grumble, grumble, Prince Eldute stretches and chides them for their somber tone. Rattle, he slams his hand on the table, asking his father if he understands the situation. Rise, the prince stands to confront the king, mentioning that his mother may only pretend to accept it. Prince Eldute stares intently into his father's eyes. The king looks away as his son calls the honorable sacrifice nothing more than a form of escape. Prince Eldute passionately declares he refuses to bring sadness to the people he holds dear. The king urges his son to be realistic, admitting that no one knows the real cause of the problem. With a confident smile, Prince Eldute declares that he has a guess. As council members murmur about his nonsense, Eldute dismisses them as ignorant and tells them to listen. He proposes that the world's problems began when the princess of the Crystal Empire suddenly changed. Using his incredible intuition, he claims this princess is spreading misfortune across the world, envisioning a dark version of Lily. Clack. Prince Eldute grabs his cloak and announces he'll be back as a man asks where he's going. He turns back with a charming wink, promising his plan will solve all of their problems. Dash, he rushes out of the hall as an attendant calls after him. Sigh, the king rests his head in his hand, lamenting that his boy is incorrigible. The king considers his son's words, realizing he must have meant the notorious Princess Violeta, a cruel villainess who would kill to achieve her goals. A blonde-haired nobleman worries that a certain boy cannot handle her. A beautiful, sparkling damask fabric fills the frame. Amidst yellow flowers, a voice calls out for Lily Crispel. A blonde-haired individual with green eyes vows to prevent Lily from running wild. The scene shifts to a grand castle courtyard at night. Prince Lance asks a concerned Lily why she suddenly said what she did. Lily confesses she told the people that Prince Majes loves her sister Violeta. She explains she didn't want Prince Majes to hide his feelings because of her. Prince Lance gazes at her, his thoughts trailing off with an uncertain, but the public is divided, with some offering blessings and others calling the princess atrocious. Violeta watches from a distance as Prince Lance and Lily talk. A purple-haired man gently pats the head of a stone dragon-like creature. The purple-haired man turns and apologizes for his sister's careless words. He tells Violeta that she has no reason to apologize. He reassures her with a gentle smile that everything is all right. Violeta smiles, pleased with this new, alternate route she didn't create. The purple-haired man blushes, announcing that they are now ready to depart. Kai cheerfully explains they can leave by riding with the dragons to their nest. Grab! A gloved hand suddenly covers Kai's entire face. Squeeze! The purple-haired man grabs Kai's head, causing him to cry out in pain while Violeta sighs at their timing. Amused by their bickering, Violeta smiles and decides it's time to go. Having completed the event, the group prepares to leave the Night Kingdom. Plop! Violeta is gently placed onto the back of a large dragon. As Violeta commands the dragons to depart, Lily vows not to let her leave so easily. Roar Dragon rears up, and Lily screams for help as Prince Lance calls her name. Lance urges Lily to hold on tight while guards below wonder about the commotion. The guards on the ground spot Princess Violeta flying on a dragon. A soldier accuses Violeta of escaping and demands she renounce any claim to Prince Majes. A confused Violeta questions the mention of marriage as the purple-haired prince angrily yells, "That's enough!" Annoyed, the prince tells a smirking white-haired man beside him to shut up. Rage Prince Lance furiously tells them to stop fighting during the chaos. Shudder. A trembling soldier raises his sword, believing his highness is under a witch's spell. He confronts Violeta's group, calling her a cruel witch while trembling. As the prince warns the soldier against threatening a royal, Lily watches with concern. Surrounded by thorny roses, Lily smirks with a sinister expression. Lily imagines that if the soldier harms Violeta, it could spark a war between their kingdoms. She thrills at the thought of the Night Kingdom being ruined and Majes' own downfall. The purple-haired prince calmly tells the soldier to listen, but the man insists he's bewitched. Flash, a glowing green magic circle ignites at the prince's feet. Slither verdant vines suddenly sprout from the ground, startling the prince. The vines coalesce into the shape of a large, glowing door. Burst, a blonde-haired man named Lord Eldute triumphantly emerges from the doorway. The purple-haired prince stares in utter shock at the sudden arrival. Violeta also looks on, surprised to see Eldute. The soldier recognizes the man before him. Glare Lord Eldute furiously points at someone off-screen. He points directly at Lily and Prince Lance, accusing her of another evil plot. Lily maintains a calm, sweet smile despite his accusation. Lord Eldute continues to gesture accusingly toward Lily. Lily coolly asks why he's rudely calling her a villain out of nowhere. Prince Eldute laughs, calling the accusation of rudeness absurd. Kick! He fiercely kicks a man who drew a sword, declaring that is the truly rude act. Ugh. Thud. The man hits the ground as another demands to know how Eldute dares. Eldute calmly asks if he should have waited for a war to erupt, warning it would harm their prince. He commands them to stop for their kingdom's sake, and the defeated men reluctantly agree. Rise, the men stand as their leader suggests. They all cool their heads. Kneel, the men bow to Prince Majes, who assures them he understands their concerns. Majes promises to handle their worries, and asks for their trust and patience. Eldute watches as Majes and his retinue depart into the night. He pivots to face a surprised Lance and Lily. Lily looks at him, utterly stunned by the sudden turn of events. Eldute flashes a charming smile in her direction. Lily demands an explanation, but he dismisses her question, causing her to apologize nervously. He laughs, saying it's just like her, as she inwardly fumes about how annoying he is. He then turns his attention to Violeta, asking if her name is Yumina. Hug. He joyfully embraces a shocked Violeta as the others cry out Viola in unison. Roar! Growl Majes and Siki angrily try to separate them as Violeta tells him to get away, but he insists he's just talking to Viola. Lance identifies the woman as Yumina, Lady Violeta's former maid, and Eldute praises his sharp memory. A confused Lily wonders who he is, thinking she doesn't remember any maid like him. Eldute recalls seeing Yumina by the lake with her lady, remarking that he seems different now. He explains that Yumina the maid was not his real form, shocking Majes, Violeta, and Siki. With a confident smile, he announces he is Prince Eldute of the Earth Kingdom. The entire group reacts with confusion, questioning who Prince Eldute is. Lance states with surprise that they have never seen him at any balls. Majes adds that Eldute has also never attended the special banquet for princes. Lily's eyes widen as she begins to suspect something. With an indifferent expression, Siki wonders aloud if he's even a real prince. Violeta looks on in a cold sweat, her expression one of pure panic. A narrator explains that Prince Eldute is a hidden character in the game who shouldn't have appeared yet, but acknowledges that many events are happening out of order. She notes that this version of Eldute looks completely different from the one she designed. Gulp, Violeta swallows nervously, questioning the strange feeling washing over her. A joyful blush spreads across her face as she realizes she's having fun. She reflects on the changes happening in the world she thought she knew best. A montage flashes through pivotal moments of her journey so far. She concludes that she has absolutely no knowledge of this brand new character. A flashback shows her past self, a game developer, feeling the anticipation of a new game. The developer smiles, eager to begin her adventure. Clack, back in the present, Eldute stands confidently before the group. Holding Violeta's hands, he declares, "This is a game that will decide the world's fate." Violeta smiles brightly, saying she would love to have an in-depth conversation with him. Surprised by her response, he simply says, "Okay." Taking the lead, she asks if he could take them somewhere important. Her destination is revealed, the magnificent capital of the Earth Kingdom. Lily questions Violeta's sudden request. She reminds Violeta that they must hurry back to Crispal and have no time for detours. HMPH, Lily pouts, thinking her plan was to leave the newcomer behind. Violeta explains that going to the Earth Kingdom is the fastest way to get home. She reveals the kingdom possesses a magical medallion that can teleport people anywhere. Since the Earth Kingdom is close, she reasons, they can use its teleportation system to get home instantly and avoid burdening the dragons. Violeta smiles sweetly at someone, thanking them for their consideration. Siki and his dragon look on with sad, droopy eyes. Clack. Lily decides to agree, thinking she'll seem odd if she's the only one who objects. Under the starry sky, she gently apologizes to the dragon for scaring it with a loud sound. Annoyed, she puts on a sweet smile and asks the dragon not to be angry. She continues to soothe the creature, promising she won't scare it again. HMPH. The dragon turns its head away before settling down on the ground with a flap of its wings. Siki watches her actions, remarking on them to a stone-faced Majes. Lily smiles at them and tells Prince Majes not to worry. She explains she isn't used to dragons and must have scared it unintentionally. Siki looks on, questioning the uncomfortable feeling her words give him. A narrator explains that Lily has never feared animals, and that her kindness has always attracted them to her. Siki thinks that she should be used to dragons by now. He recalls that, strangely, this dragon seems to prefer Lady Violeta, who laughs as it nuzzles her. Throb. A nagging suspicion grows as he clutches his chest. Lily approaches him with concern, asking if he is okay. He smiles reassuringly, telling her he's fine and thanking her for her concern. Siki then turns to Eldute, asking if he will take them to the Earth Kingdom, as Violeta suggested. Eldute pauses, considering the request with a neutral expression. He smiles slightly and flatly refuses. A shocked Siki asks him what he means and why he's refusing. Eldute points a finger dramatically. In a chibi scene, he says, "Oh," as the others realize they forgot something important. Lily, Majes, and another man all offer sheepish apologies. Eldute snaps, shouting that their apologies clearly aren't genuine. He turns his fiery gaze on Violeta, taking her hand. Violeta explains that it's rare for outsiders to know about the Earth Kingdom's reclusive nature. Oops, a panicked chibi Violeta realizes her mistake with a loud "ah." She panics internally, realizing she blurted out her developer knowledge again, and wonders what to do. Stare as Eldute gazes at her, she berates herself for being an idiot. She continues to internally scold herself for getting too excited and making the same mistake again. Glance, gasp. She looks away in a panic before her eyes widen with a sudden realization. She looks back at Eldute, who is smiling warmly and thinks his name. Huh? Violeta is stunned to see an option screen suddenly appear in front of Lily. Rush Violeta quickly moves toward Lily as Eldute and Siki watch. Grab! She playfully smushes Lily's face with her hands. Lily looks dazed as Violeta holds her face, letting out a soft "oh." Whisper, Violeta tells Lily to choose an option, then adds that she must already know the answer, calling her Sahi. Stare, Lily hesitantly agrees, while Violeta thinks to herself that the situation is bad. Eldute thinks that he doesn't know the answer because he's an unexpected character, and worries how Choi Yuri will react. Siki looks on, consumed by worry as he wonders what he should do. Grab, an unseen hand suddenly seizes Violeta's neck from behind. Step, Eldute appears behind her, saying he almost forgot something. He takes off his ornate cloak, holding it out. A smiling Lily asks him what he's talking about. Whoosh! A swirling vortex of green magic and clockwork imagery erupts around Eldute. Step, Siki draws his sword and stands defensively before the princesses, vowing not to let Eldute closer. Prince Majes steps forward, telling Siki that's enough. Lance watches with detached interest, asking if they plan to start a war with the Crystal Empire. Violeta pleads with Eldute to stop whatever he is doing. He declares that he will never stop, because the princess is the culprit behind all the world's changes. The white-haired woman asks what is happening, as she learns a princess must act to restore peace. She suddenly covers the blonde man's mouth to silence him. A narrator reveals the situation is dangerous, as someone named Eldute has discovered that Lily is disturbing the land of destiny. If he reveals this truth, everyone will notice the changes. A smiling Lily imagines using the creator's power to trap everyone in an unhappy ending, followed by a vision of her friend's bloody demise. Foosh! The white-haired woman looks on in surprise as a message window appears. A message defers an explanation until they reach the Earth Kingdom, as a thought realizes something is the same as Lily's. Glow, her crimson eyes shines with resolve as she decides on her next move. She leans in close to the blonde man, promising to explain everything once they arrive at the Earth Kingdom. The blonde man stares in stunned silence. He suddenly faints with a happy sigh, slumping onto her shoulder. Now recovered, he gazes happily at a distant, magnificent castle. She confirms his assumption is correct, but a chibi version of her comically admits she has no plan at all. The blonde man stands beside her, preparing to cast a spell. Flasha. A brilliant green magic circle erupts from the ground beneath them. As the light surrounds them, she calmly identifies the spell as Teleportation. The blonde man extends his hand with a warm smile, telling her it's time to go. Glow, the teleportation circle intensifies, radiating powerful green energy. Whoosh! He sweeps her into his arms as they vanish in the light. She gives him a sidelong glance as he laughs cheerfully beside her. They arrive, and he proudly announces that this is the Earth Kingdom. Having fallen to the floor, she looks up in shock, wondering why she is the only one there. The scene pulls back, highlighting her confusion as the blonde man stands right before her. She expresses her disbelief at having arrived in the Earth Kingdom alone. She slowly turns to look around her new surroundings. Sparkle, her eyes fall upon a cave wall filled with shimmering, colorful crystals. Her gaze travels down a quiet, sunlit street lined with timber-framed houses. An aerial view reveals the vast and beautiful city nestled within a massive sunlit cavern. Blushing with awe, she begins to comment on the beautiful scenery. Her thought continues, noting that it's not just the streets that are amazing. The blonde man beams, exclaiming that even the artificial sun in the sky looks incredible. They stand together, gazing up at the majestic architecture of the kingdom. Filled with new purpose, she believes this is a place where she can make a difference. The scene focuses on a smartphone displaying the game Land of Destiny. A thought resolves to do something for this world. A dark-haired woman with glasses, the player, sits peacefully while looking at her phone. The narration reveals a grim fate. The king of the Earth Kingdom is destined to fuse with the land. She confronts the blonde man, calling him Eldute and asking if he is truly willing to die for his kingdom. With sorrow in her eyes, she laments creating a storyline that dooms Eldute. Eldute smiles radiantly, vowing to survive and dedicate his life to bringing his people happiness. Flutter, they walk together as ethereal white feathers drift gently around them. Watching him, the white-haired woman smiles warmly to herself, thinking, "I'm glad." Eldute leans in close and playfully asks if she was worried about him. Blushing, she softly tells him it's because he is very precious to her. Bottom. Her words hit Eldute like a lightning bolt, and he blushes furiously as his affection meter skyrockets. Turn, he spins away in a fluster, insisting it's nothing when she asks what's wrong. She watches him, puzzled after noticing his affection level suddenly soared. Still flustered, Eldute turns back slightly and asks what she meant earlier. A flashback shows her promising to tell him everything upon their arrival. He grabs his shirt in frustration, exclaiming that he's dying to know the truth. Russell, he presses her for an answer about Lily being behind the strange events, but she chides him for answering her question with another, which he protests is unfair. A blonde man explains that it all began when Princess Lily turned evil, as a sinister-looking Lily declares her change is destroying the world. A shocked white-haired woman asks him how he could possibly know that. Amidst a sunlit field of flowers, a voice explains that the land remembers every disaster. The blonde man kneels in a glowing grove, revealing he can see the land's memories. Gulp, the white-haired woman stares in disbelief at his impossible power. She finds his power fascinating, annoyed she never thought of such a thing herself. Looking at the blonde man's reflection, she thinks how much more there is to learn about Eldute. Glance, Eldute turns to her, saying it's her turn to answer his question. Turn, she reluctantly agrees, wondering what to do. Clench. She stands tensely as he says Lily's name. She explains that Lily changed due to a certain situation, which he questions. She cryptically tells him that's all she can reveal for now. She frets internally, knowing her vague answer won't satisfy him, but having no better excuse. Clench. Eldute comes to a sudden conclusion. Lily was cursed, turning her into an evil witch. Startled by his correct guess, she simply agrees. He concludes that she must be enduring the princess's fangs to break the curse, Viola. Viola imagines a cartoonish snake lily biting her, confused by his strange expression. Eldute stands before a large magic circle, noting that a normal method won't work as Viola recognizes him. He confidently declares that she can leave it to him, the future greatest king of the world, Eldute. Haha. His bold statement leaves her momentarily speechless. Creak, creak. She bursts into genuine laughter at his confidence. Creak, rattle! They walk together across the stone ground. Rumble. The ground suddenly begins to shake as they stand on the magic circle. Rumble. The violent tremors continue, shaking the entire area. He remarks that he had wanted to go to the castle, but it seems they dallied too long. Chills, a sudden sense of dread washes over Viola. Loom, loom. She realizes with horror that dark shapes are materializing around them. Swish! The scene shifts to a modern office where a pink-haired woman tells a colleague she isn't making any progress, who apologizes for her difficulty with monster designs. Ha! Slam! The pink-haired woman slams down monster sketches, expressing her disappointment. Slump. The colleague bows her head in apology. The pink-haired woman smiles, cheerfully offering to share her own ideas. The colleague looks up hesitantly, agreeing to see them. Thud! Thud! Back in the fantasy world, Viola realizes with dawning horror what's about to appear. Kaboom! A monstrous, fanged worm erupts from the ground before them. Viola recoils in sheer disgust, crying out at the gross sight. Screech, ooze. The creature is revealed as the warden of the Earth Kingdom, the giant worm. Shudder, Eldute smirks at Viola's terrified reaction, as she stammers that she really doesn't like it. Grah! The giant worm roars, looming over Eldute. Thud. The massive creature slams its body down. Dash. Eldute explains the worm attacks foreigners without the Earth's blessing as he drags a screaming Viola away. Slither. Dash. They flee across the sand. pursued by the giant worm as Viola panics. Slump. She collapses from exhaustion while the worm continues its slithering pursuit. Shudder. Viola trembles with fear, completely overwhelmed. Tap. As her hand hits the ground, Eldute calls out her name, Viola. He holds her close, promising to give her the earth's blessing. She looks up at him, stunned and confused by his words. Eldute gathers a glowing green orb of energy in his hand and brings it to his lips. He proudly explains that as the prince of the kingdom, he knows how to give a blessing. Overwhelmed by the situation, Viola begs him to hurry. He blushes, suddenly shy and looking away. Raise, a white-haired woman in a black lace choker, prepares to act. Batum, as she gazes forward in surprise, a blushing, blonde-haired man looks away, his heart pounding. Push. She places her hands on his chest, explaining that since Eldute used to be her maid, this is fine, but he insists it's wrong. Violeta reminds him he used to help her change, adding that she doesn't mind. In a flashback, Eldute, dressed as a maid, argues that this situation is totally different. She slyly suggests he close his eyes to calm his nerves. A flustered Eldute stammers that closing his eyes isn't the real problem. He reluctantly agrees and closes his eyes as Violeta watches him intently. She gently cups his face, leaning in close. Their faces draw nearer as she bestows a gentle kiss on his forehead. Flash, a brilliant light suddenly emanates from her chest. A blushing Eldute thanks her, wondering to himself why Viola seems so unfazed. She stands before him as he kneels, now wearing his green and gold cloak. Whoosh! A monstrous giant worm with a rocky maw erupts from the ground before them. Raise, Eldute stands protectively in front of a startled Violeta. Jolt. The giant worm unexpectedly leans down to snuggle against Violeta. Nuzzle. The worm affectionately shakes a stunned Violeta back and forth as Eldute laughs, declaring the Earth's blessing a success. He beams, amazed that the giant worm is being so affectionate with Viola. Nudge. An uncomfortable Violeta asks for some space as the creature continues to press against her. Eldute laughs heartily at the comical scene. Rage. Violeta's expression hardens as she commands the worm to stop, causing Eldute to flinch and the monster to gasp. Sigh. He laughs that her panicked face was funny, but she tiredly asks him to stop teasing her. His playful expression softens into a look of gentle concern. Sensing the shift, Violeta asks him what's wrong. Reach. He takes her hand, and a small, shining crystal materializes between them. Flash. Her hand erupts in a brilliant green light as she gasps, telling him to look. She stares in disbelief at a glowing green orb of energy floating in her palm. A vibrant green magic circle materializes from the orb. She looks up in shock, insisting it can't be real because she doesn't possess any magic. Eldute watches her, his expression one of quiet surprise. Violeta questions him, stating the Earth's blessing is only a travel permit and shouldn't be able to grant magic. He looks at her with deep concern, whispering her name. Taking both of her hands, he smiles warmly at her. A confused Violeta lets out a soft, "Huh?" He gazes at her affectionately, holding her hands tight. He pulls her closer, their faces nearly touching as he smiles. He looks at her with a gentle and reassuring expression. He recalls a vision of Violeta surrounded by thorns, watching Lily use magic, thinking that this power means she no longer has to resent her. The ominous question hangs in the air. Is that okay? Squeeze! He clutches his chest, asking her if she is unhappy with this development. His face flushes as he looks at her with worried eyes. Violeta looks up, startled by his sudden question. She reassures him it's not that, explaining she was just lost in thought while looking at a memory of large blue crystals. They stand together in a cavern, illuminated by magnificent, glowing crystals. Eldute's face lights up with excitement, suggesting they go tell his father immediately. While he beams with joy, a panicked Violeta tries to stop him. Whoosh! A glowing green teleportation circle activates beneath them. They arrive in a magnificent hall where Eldute approaches a man standing before a grand door. Creak! A hand pushes open the gleaming white and gold door. As the doors swing open to a sunlit balcony, a man in a cloak remarks on the beautiful day. Flash! A brilliant green light bursts from the teleportation gate. Whoosh! Violeta holds on to Eldute as they are swept up in the magical transport. A stunned, blonde-haired man demands to know what's happening and who the strange woman is. Eldute grins while Violeta laughs, enjoying their dramatic entrance. Stepping forward, She apologizes for the intrusion and introduces herself as Princess Violeta Crispal. The man recognizes her name, recalling a vision of a sinister-looking Violeta surrounded by dark magic. Eldute cheerfully tells his father her identity doesn't matter, much to Violeta's surprise. He gives a playful wink, standing close to a slightly flustered Violeta. Violeta asks him to forget the topic of marriage, causing a shocked Eldute to think that it's the most important thing. She turns to him, insisting he mustn't behave so informally. She gently caresses his cheek, reminding him that his father, Lord Eldercrass, is the king. Ruffle, she straightens the collar of his shirt with a tender touch. Push, she gently moves him aside, fondly recalling her maid Yumina's thoughtfulness. She smiles warmly, beginning to make a point. Eldute watches her. Surprised by her sudden change in demeanor, she stands before him, her hands on his shoulders, surrounded by a warm, floral aura. He proudly declares he will be the best king, and Violeta can't help but laugh. King Eldercrass sternly demands to know what is going on. Violeta panics, worrying that she has been treating the prince too much like a child. She frets that the king already has a poor impression of her. Sob, the king breaks down in tears, calling his son's sudden obedience a miracle. Violeta and Eldute stare blankly, completely bewildered by his emotional reaction. Gulp. The king decides she can't be an evil witch. She's the complete opposite. He observes that the very land seems to be accepting the princess. He marvels that this has never happened before, thinking it's as if Alicia, the goddess of the earth, has returned to life. The king turns to Violeta, beginning to make a formal request. He looks at her intently, his expression serious as he prepares to speak. As Violeta looks on confused, Eldute excitedly assumes his father approves of their union, but the king begins to propose she become his son's tutor. They both exclaim in utter shock. The scene shifts to the magnificent castle of the Night Kingdom under a starry sky. V-Womb, a light blue-haired man, unleashes a powerful blast of energy as Lily watches. Crackle, he floats within a magical vortex, determined to reach Lady Violeta. Crack. A glowing blue gem begins to fracture. Shatter, the magical gem breaks apart completely. Thud, the man collapses to his knees in exhaustion. Looking at the broken shards, he wonders if he has failed again. The pink-haired woman watches him with a neutral expression. She leans down and gently asks if Siki is okay. Siki thinks to himself that with annoying Violeta gone, things should be different. Lily puts on a sweet, comforting smile for him. Ugh, she inwardly cringes in disgust. Drip. Tears stream down Siki's face as he whispers Lady Violeta's name. As shadowy beasts close in, he collapses, apologizing to his mistress. He trembles, begging forgiveness for being pathetic before a roar of flames engulfs him as he screams to be burned in hell. Bleg, Lily thinks he's creepy for willingly choosing an unhappy ending. She finds Prince Majes crying and tells him to stop. Turn Majes whirls around, refusing to be stopped as a red-haired man restrains him. The red-haired man explains that Majes is struggling to return to the Cursed Heart and become a dragon again. The two men look desperate as Majes asks how they can proceed. He reveals his plan to enter the ground using a dragon's power, shocking his companion. The red-haired man tells Prince Majes his plan is too reckless, urging him to calm down, but Majes protests. A smiling Lily thinks they're all idiots for focusing on Violeta, declaring she can't stand it. Clench. She refuses to be a side character, declaring herself the main character of the land awaiting destiny. She lets out a frustrated sigh. A wave of dark energy swirls as she decides she'd better just do it. The red-haired man watches her, his expression filled with concern. Lily turns and walks away with a faint smile as he looks on. She laughs, declaring she wants everyone to have a bad ending. The red-haired man is horrified, questioning her desire for a bad ending. Whoosh! Violeta is engulfed in green light and vanishes before their eyes. Clack, she reappears on a glowing green magic circle, realizing she can now teleport. The red-haired man, Siki, and the dark-haired man stare in utter shock. Dash, the dark-haired man runs towards her, crying out her name. Eldute suddenly appears beside her on the magic circle, joyfully calling her Viola. Step, Siki rushes to Violeta to check on her, but an annoyed Eldute shoves him aside to ask if she's hurt, which she denies. Violeta clasps her hands in delight, overjoyed that she can now teleport. The dark-haired man, Eldute, and Siki watch her, blushing at her radiant happiness. Nearby, Lily wonders if Violeta was the one who just used magic. Violeta beams, gesturing to her newfound power. The red-haired man turns to Lily, asking her what this all means. Siki explains that the magic Violeta just used was his. He speculates that Viola has gained the power to copy other people's abilities. Siki reminds the stunned group that they all just saw it happen. The red-haired man congratulates Lady Violeta, calling it incredible, while a blushing Siki laments not being there to see her receive the power. A stunned Lily questions if Violeta really gained the power to copy abilities. Clench. She angrily thinks they must be kidding, realizing Violeta can now use the prince's magic. A magical seal for healing appears as she fumes over someone else, using the power that was once unique to Lily. Her thoughts race with anger at Violeta's sudden acquisition of such a power. Glare, she glowers, wondering just how far Violeta will go. In a dark void, she thinks that Violeta was supposed to be nothing more than her shadow. Grr, she grits her teeth in disbelief, refusing to accept that Violeta can copy magic. She watches the others fawn over Violeta, enraged that she, the main character, is being upstaged. The red-haired man glances back at Lily with a troubled expression. Eldute proudly announces that this is why she can use his power. Surrounded by glowing leaves, Violeta looks confused. The dark-haired man looks on with a serious expression. Violeta. He asks if her new power will allow her to share his magic with him. Eldute aggressively interrupts, declaring his magic is enough for Viola and she doesn't need any other kind. Siki surprisingly agrees that she doesn't need unnecessary magic, confusing Eldute. Grin, Siki reveals his plan to remove the impure magic from Violeta and replace it with his own. Yell. Eldute confronts him, but Siki smirks, arguing that his magic and items have the best compatibility with hers. As they squabble, the dark-haired man ignores them and speaks directly to Violeta. He tells her he assumes she can now return to Crispell immediately. Violeta smiles, happy with the idea. She closes her eyes, realizing all she needs is to imagine her destination. Suddenly, her eyes fly open as she looks up in alarm. She looks down, confused and startled by an unexpected sensation. Groan, she clutches herself, suddenly feeling unwell. Groan. The dark-haired man and Siki watch with deep concern as she struggles. The men look on in alarm as Violeta explains she's just feeling a bit dizzy. Eldute angrily confronts the dark-haired man, demanding to know what he did to Viola. Plof! Siki smirks at the confrontation, while an annoyed Eldute stands behind him. Roar! Eldute calls someone pathetic, as the tense group stands together and Lily watches thoughtfully. Haha, Lily dismisses her worries, thinking it was just a glitch as a side character like Violeta couldn't possibly have such a power. Step. Lily approaches Violeta from behind with a gentle smile. She leans in to whisper in Violeta's ear. The red-haired man watches them with a worried expression. Whisper, Lily suggests their priority should be returning to Crispell, and Violeta agrees, thanking someone named Yuri. The red-haired man's eyes widen in shock as he hears the name. Bedum, his heart pounds as he processes the name Yuri. He frantically wonders what they are talking about. He recalls Lily's disturbing words from earlier. A memory of Lily reveals her vow to force a bad ending on everyone. The red-haired man recalls not understanding what she meant by a bad ending. Chills, he remembers the ominous feeling that her words meant the end of the world. A sense of dark foreboding surrounds him. Violeta asks Eldute to teleport them to Crispell, and he asks if he has to send the others too. Sparkle, Eldute sees a vision of Violeta looking at him with hopeful, pleading eyes. Ha ha ha! Eldute proudly declares he must obey his greedy bride, horrifying the other two men. Violeta clarifies to the stunned group that she was only asked to be Eldute's tutor. Eldute turns away, shouting his refusal. Violeta firmly tells him they need to be clear about their relationship. He looks away from her, his expression hardening. He reluctantly agrees, formally addressing her as Your Highness. The dark-haired man steps forward, calling out to Majes. Raise, he gently takes her hand in his. Violeta's eyes widen in surprise. Rustle, Majes gallantly drapes his cloak over her. Against a cosmic backdrop, Violeta looks up at him, momentarily stunned. He asks to be excused, explaining he wanted to say a private goodbye. She smiles gently, acknowledging that they are about to part ways. Thinking to herself, she decides she won't be attending any balls soon anyway. She laments that trouble seems to follow her wherever she goes. Majes thinks that without her, the world would be like a night sky without stars. He kneels before her, thinking that perhaps her absence will keep her shining presence safe from others. He vows that even if she disappears into darkness, he kneels and kisses her hand, promising to find her no matter what. Holding her hand to his cheek, he smiles and tells her he'll see her soon. A blushing Violeta stares back, flustered by his declaration. Rustle. The magical moment fades. Back on the balcony, the others watch as Majes holds Violeta's hand. Grab! Eldute confronts Majes, demanding to know if he was rude. Majes calmly replies he just said goodbye. Violeta laughs and waves her hands, confirming that's all that happened. HMPH. Turn. Siki scoffs and looks away dismissively. Majes leans in close to speak to Violeta again. Lean. He moves closer amidst a soft, floral aura. He promises to make their next meeting more memorable. Violeta looks at him with a confused expression, asking for clarification. The scene transitions with a flourish of flowers. Baidum, Majes' smile makes Violeta's heart pound. The romantic moment lingers in the air. Step, an angry Eldute interrupts their moment. Eldute furiously asks what Violeta is doing, insisting they're leaving now. Violeta smiles brightly, standing beside a stoic Majes. She cheerfully bids Majes farewell, and he agrees. She moves quickly past the others. A hand reaches out in a final, gentle gesture. Her hand sparkles with a lingering magic. Vroom, Eldute prepares the teleportation magic, announcing they're off. Flash, the group holds hands and vanishes in a green magic circle as Majes watches. As they teleport, the red-haired man tells Lily he's been feeling disconnected. His eyes harden with determination, framed by thorns. He thinks to himself that, as he suspected, the woman before him is... The world dissolves into a bright, ethereal light. The light clears to reveal a bright blue sky and lush greenery. Whoosh. They materialize within a magical circle in a vibrant forest. The magic of this strange new location settles around them. Looking around, Lily realizes they aren't in Crispal, and Violeta agrees. They've arrived in the Forest of Bounty, where they notice their clothes have magically changed. The red-haired man wonders if it's the forest's magic. A bewildered Eldute asks how they ended up here. Lily asks Violeta if a mage lives in this forest. Sigh, the scene shifts to a modern office, where a pink-haired woman impatiently asks someone named Sehi how much longer she has to wait. She sighs again, thinking it's just a minor character and not worth the effort. Sehi explains the character is important for a future item and needs a strong storyline. The pink-haired woman sighs in frustration. To speed things up, she suggests making the character a simple grandfather. With the decision made, she happily leaves for home, while Sehi thanks her uncertainly. Tap tap! A sudden idea strikes Sehi, and she begins typing furiously. Back in the forest, Lily happily announces she knows the mage's name. The memory blooms like a flower in her mind. Waft, she cheerfully announces the mage's name is Bratia, but Violeta begins to correct her. A strange, dark energy drifts through the air. Whoosh. Violeta is startled as the dark energy suddenly surrounds her and Lily. Whoosh. A powerful blast of magic erupts, engulfing the entire group. The energy dissipates, leaving behind an eerie silence. Eldute finds himself alone in a misty landscape and desperately calls out for Viola. He's stunned to see Lily appear beside him. He worries about the implications of their situation. Lily realizes with concern that it's just the two of them now. They both cringe, realizing this is the worst possible outcome. Elsewhere, the red-haired man runs through the fog, desperately searching for Lily. He decides to track her magic, confident he can recognize her warm, kind energy. He closes his eyes, focusing his power through his sword. Vroom! His sword radiates a brilliant white light. In another part of the fog, Siki asks Violeta if she's hurt, which she denies, while he speculates Bratia is behind the fog. Violeta declares that their first priority is getting rid of the fog. Fisha, she unleashes a powerful vortex of swirling purple magic. The dark, sparkling magic pulses with immense power. Siki stares in absolute shock, recognizing the power as night magic. Violeta wonders aloud if she just used night magic, and how it was possible. Siki internally questions if this is the same phenomenon as when she used Prince Eldelute's power. Looking concerned, Siki addresses Lady Violeta. He explains that just as his magic items look like accessories, her power might work similarly. He asks if she had skin-to-skin contact with either Prince Eldute or Prince Majes. Violeta puts a finger to her chin, thoughtfully considering his question. She recalls an intimate moment with Eldute. She then remembers Majes kissing her hand under the moonlight. Blushing furiously, Violeta covers her mouth in embarrassment. Siki theorizes that others' magic can only enter her through physical contact that touches her heart. He realizes with a jolt that this means her heart raced for them. Looking worried, Siki asks exactly where they touched her. Clench. His fist tightens as he hesitantly asks if he could lightly touch her there too. Violeta smiles and agrees, holding her hand out to him. Raise. She gently places her hand on his chest, surprising him. Kiss. He gently kisses her hand, recalling her past as an isolated, beautiful, and cruel person. Leaning close, he tells her that the way she is now is even more captivating, and he chuckles. Violeta gives him a playful wink. A single white rose appears alongside Siki's determined eye. A floral aura surrounds them as he reaches for her. Still winking, Violeta calls out Siki's name, teasingly telling him that no one touched her there. Hug. A transition shows a butterfly amidst flowers. He pulls her into a full, warm embrace, surrounded by glowing butterflies. Violeta's eyes widen slightly in surprise during the hug. Siki holds her close, admitting to himself that he is also a man. Amidst a backdrop of flowers, his thought continues. Batum, her heart pounds as she blushes, wondering what to do. Siki gently holds her face, leaning in closer. The intimate moment intensifies as they are about to kiss. Rustle. Dash. The red-haired man rushes through the woods, frantically calling for Lily. He stops, looking down into a clearing. He spots Siki and Violeta in their intimate embrace below. The tense moment is framed by falling white petals. The red-haired man watches the scene unfold from above. Gasp! Violeta is startled by his touch and calls out, "Lance!" Jolt. They are interrupted by Lance's arrival, and Violeta stammers that she doesn't know yet. Lance asks Violeta if she's hurt, and she smiles, saying no. Violeta gives a reassuring smile. Bo. Lance formally bows before her. Tremble, chills. Siki is suddenly racked with guilt as thorny vines of dark energy bind him. He thinks he, a lowly slave, cannot believe he dared to touch Lady Violeta. Gasp. Violeta looks on in shock, calling out his name. Foosh. Siki is engulfed in blue magical energy, apologizing profusely. Flash. He declares he no longer has the right to serve her and thanks her for everything. Flash. A blinding light erupts and shoots away as Violeta screams Siki's name. Plop. A small glowing orb lands in her hands as she realizes he put a curse on himself. Lance kneels by the distraught Violeta, asking if Siki was just embarrassed. She looks up at Lance, confused by his question. Lance explains that Siki must have felt he had disrespected her as his mistress. Violeta stares in anguish at the glowing remnant of Siki's magic. Lance looks at Violeta, certain of a hidden truth. He recalls Lady Violeta's cruel past, remembering how she bullied the weak and seemed to hate the world. He realizes that when he tried to track Lily's gentle magic, it led him directly to Violeta. Seeing the shock in his eyes, Violeta worriedly thinks his name. She grabs his arm, noticing he looks pale and asking if he's okay. Violeta presses further, worried he was injured and is hiding his pain. Lance looks away, his mind clouded with suspicion as he wonders if her concern is fake. Rise, he stands, dismissing her worries by saying he's fine. Dizzy, a sudden wave of vertigo hits him and he feels confused. Plop, he suddenly loses consciousness and collapses. Violeta screams his name in a panic as he falls. Pant, pant. She rushes to his side, realizing with alarm that he's burning with fever. Thorn, she knows she must break Siki's curse, but also needs to help the feverish Lance as soon as possible. Overwhelmed by the situation, she desperately wonders what to do. In his fevered state, Lance weakly murmurs Lily's name. A memory surfaces of Lily in a field of flowers as he thinks she is gone from the world. Flinch, a hand touches the grass in his dreamlike memory. The memory shows Lily sitting serenely amidst flowers and butterflies. A vision of a younger, vibrant Lance appears in his formal attire. He remembers a happy moment of Lily embracing the white-haired Violeta. The memory shifts to a darker time, with the cruel Violeta vowing to give everyone a bad ending. The vision ends with Lance's shock as Lily vanishes before him, leaving only a swarm of dark butterflies. The scene shifts to another part of the misty forest, where a voice calls out. A frustrated Eldute searches for Violeta, unaware of the pink-haired woman following him. He continues to call out into the fog, asking where she is. The pink-haired woman smiles and addresses Prince Eldute, suggesting they work together to escape the fog. Ticked, she grows annoyed as Eldute ignores her and keeps shouting for Viola. Rustle, her attention is drawn by a sound nearby. Flap, flap, an injured bird falls at their feet, and the woman recognizes the start of the Forest of Bounty storyline. She recalls the plot point where Lily finds an injured bird but discovers her healing magic has failed. The memory continues. Lily's courage in seeking out the mage Bratia in his cave impresses him, and he agrees to help. She recalls the end of the original event, with Lily meeting the kind, grandfatherly mage. Confident in her knowledge, she thinks that it's about time for the event to begin. Plop, as the bird lands, she grins sinisterly, thinking everything is going perfectly. Eldute looks over at her with a slightly confused expression. The pink-haired woman kneels, telling Eldute the bird is badly wounded and that she will heal it. Whoosh! She holds her hands over the bird, feigning an attempt to heal it. Both she and Eldute look up in shock. She declares that her magic isn't working. Whoosh! A title card announces the event episode, The Forest of Bounty. The pink-haired woman puts on a look of distress. She glances away with a sly smile, thinking her plan is perfect. Press, she selects a dialogue option on a hidden screen, choosing to seek out the mage Bratia for help. Fish! They arrive at a dark cave entrance, and she thinks that it's just as she expected. Whoosh! A sinister laugh echoes from the cave as a vortex of dark magic and bats erupts. Whoosh! Eldute shields the pink-haired woman as the dark energy blasts toward them. Push! He shoves her out of harm's way, leaving her momentarily confused. The pink-haired woman stands before the cave, calling out to Mage Bratia to save the bird, but a demonic voice mistakes her for Princess Lily and angrily tells her to leave. Whoosh! Eldute grabs her, shouting that she's being reckless and that they need to run immediately. Clack! She steps into the dark, bat-filled cave. Sparkle! As a bat flies near, the pink-haired woman is taken aback by a brilliant light. Flash! In a burst of white petals, Eldute is transported away. They find themselves standing before a magnificent sunlit tower. A blonde-haired boy with them looks around in wide-eyed confusion. The pink-haired woman gazes forward with a look of grim determination. Creak! She pushes open the tower's massive stone doors. Clack, clack! They ascend a winding, cavernous staircase. Reaching the top, she peeks into a room, wondering where its occupant is. She looks down into the ornate room, realizing he's not there. Step, she calls out, and a long, green-haired man appears from the shadows. The green-haired man turns slightly, acknowledging her presence with an affirmation. Step, he begins to descend the stairs towards her. He faces her directly, telling her she's out of control. The pink-haired woman sits anxiously, her eyes filled with worry. Slam! He traps her against the wall, startling her. He leans over her, asking if he looks different than she imagined. His intense gaze holds her as he repeats the unsettling question. She responds with a surprisingly sweet and composed smile. He leans closer, caressing her face and calling her beautiful. Blush, a deep red flush spreads across her cheek. Grin, he smirks cruelly, thinking her beauty is only skin deep. Her confident facade falters as she looks away, troubled. Clenched, she angrily demands to know why he's impersonating Bratia. He begins to explain his reasons as he pulls her closer. The moment grows tense as their faces are mere inches apart. She internally panics, realizing this character is dangerously different from the others. Ding! Thinking he feels dangerous, she turns as a glowing item menu appears before her. Press, her finger moves to select a glowing book from the menu. She clutches the book, determined to give the impostor a bad end. Jolt. She questions the book as he feels an unfamiliar energy. Vroom. The book glows intensely. The blonde boy looks on, confused, insisting there's nothing there. She stares at the book in disbelief, realizing this unforeseen event has happened before. Flap, flap, flap. The book's pages begin to flip wildly on their own. Ugh, bleg, she recoils, realizing this method will cause her pain. The green-haired man stares, revealing he knows she isn't from this world. Cornered, she realizes she has no other choice at this point. Russell, she turns and formally introduces herself, claiming to be Princess Lily Crispell. Press, she selects a dialogue option asking to undo the forest barrier. Waft, as purple magic flows from her, she recognizes what's happening. Waft, he watches the magic. She realizes it's a forced game event. Dash, she rushes forward as she cries out, grabbing a glowing scepter. Stab, she screams in agony, plunging the scepter into her own chest. The blonde boy shouts in shock as she struggles against the weapon. Crack, her hand turns to stone as she realizes Bratia is controlling her body. The blonde boy stares in horror, paralyzed by the shocking turn of events. Smirk. Though in pain, she defiantly vows that Bratia will get a bad ending. A flashback shows the real cloaked Bratia preparing to petrify Lily. But Lily's healing magic powers up, easily overcoming the petrification. As a result, the powerful spell rebounds back onto the caster, Bratia. A dark, oppressive energy fills the scene. She groans in pain, thinking the petrification should be healing by now. Confused, she stares at the weapon in her petrified hands, wondering why nothing is happening. Waft, the green-haired man, taunts her, asking if she failed because she didn't use his staff. He finishes his question, asking if she used a common iron sword instead, leaving her speechless. Raise, he suddenly brandishes a knife, and she cries out in alarm. The blonde boy intercepts, grabbing the man's arm and demanding to know what he's doing. The blonde boy asks the green-haired man if he's the woman's lover, a suggestion the boy vehemently denies. Protecting her, the blonde boy warns the man of the consequences should any harm befall Princess Lily. Pant, clutching her corrupted wound, she declares she's sick of everything. Crackle, her glitching wound continues to spread as the boy notes its strange nature. The green-haired man smirks, finding her predicament amusing. She screams at him in defiance, her chest still glowing with corrupted energy. She begins to float, enveloped by a massive, glowing, magic circle. Shine, surrounded by thorny roses, she begins to transform under the brilliant pink light. Her transformation completes, revealing a new horned appearance as she thinks, "This is..." glint. Her eye glows with a powerful pink light. A massive white serpent with glowing pink eyes laughs maniacally amidst the dark roses. The green-haired man looks up at her radiant new form, whispering that she's beautiful. Tilt, she looks down at him, coolly asking if her beauty is only on the outside again. Kiss, he gently brings her hand to his lips. She watches his sudden change in demeanor with a surprised expression. Dazed, he looks up at her with reverence, calling her princess. A knowing grin spreads across her face as she realizes her enchantment worked. She embraces the enchanted man, declaring she has just obtained an amazing new power. Their eyes glow with the same pink light as her enchantment takes full hold. A memory surfaces of another woman with purple hair, whom she identifies as Bratia. Jolt, the green-haired man recoils, startled as the enchantment shatters. Staring in disbelief, he realizes this woman can use enchantment magic. Slap, he unleashes a powerful blast of energy, knocking her back. Whoosh, he casts another spell, ordering her to leave as the blonde boy shouts her name. She is sent flying from the tower by the force of the magical blast. Splash, she plunges into the dark water below, bubbles rising around her. Flash, a brilliant pink light erupts from her as she sinks. The light attracts strange, dark red fish swimming amidst glowing rose petals. Glint, glow. The fish's eyes shine brightly as they swim towards her. Turn, a giant red fish moves beneath her unconscious form. Whoosh, carries her swiftly up toward the surface. Gasp, she breaks the water's surface, riding on the fish's back. Soaked and weary, she quietly contemplates her next move. A tear escapes as she begins to laugh, declaring she has an idea. Back in the tower, the green-haired man reflects that he never expected to be affected by enchantment magic. He recalls being wary of her from the start, remembering a vision of a different, white-haired woman. He admits her merciless enchantment magic worked on him easily, a power he's never seen before. He realizes that if used on anyone else, her magic would have meant a slow death under her control. An angry shout of, "Hey!" echoes through the room. The blonde boy grabs the green-haired man, furiously demanding to know where he sent the princess. Flinch, the blonde boy angrily demands that the green-haired man answer his question. The man dismissively asks if it matters where he sent her, and the boy shouts back that it does. The blonde boy furiously grabs the man's sleeve, ordering him to bring the princess back, but the man, with a tease, considers sending the twerp away too. A white-haired woman appears on the staircase as the boy asks the man if he's the mage. Bratia. Yank, the blonde boy, is startled as someone off-screen calls him Violeta. Dash, the boy, Eldute, runs to the white-haired woman, who expresses relief that he's okay, but he tells her that's not the problem. Zap, Eldute cries out in shock as he is suddenly blasted with blue magic. He stares in disbelief as the energy dissipates around him. Flash, the white-haired woman looks on with a nervous smile as a blue light glows between her hands. Crackle, crackle. Her hands intertwine with the green-haired man's as a blue gem between them glows, prompting him to wonder if that is Siki. The white-haired woman formally introduces herself as Violeta Crispel. Lean, the green-haired man moves closer, tilting Violeta's chin up to meet his gaze. She observes him coolly, concluding he is definitely the highest-level mage. His reptilian eye glints as she thinks to herself that she knew it. He holds her close, a confident smile playing on his lips. The green-haired man stands over her with an unreadable expression. Violeta feigns confusion, but he smirks, asking if she's pretending to be ignorant. Gulp, she swallows nervously, a bead of sweat on her brow. A vision shows her original form as she thinks about how carefully she must answer to hide the fact she's possessing the body. Jolt, she returns to the present, reminding herself of more important matters at hand. She redirects the conversation, explaining that her companion is suffering from a high fever. The green-haired man looks down, coldly refusing her request. Whoosh. Jolt. He summons a magical orb, startling Eldute. Pont pant. The orb reveals a red-haired man underwater, and Violeta asks if he is the one she's referring to. Eldute stares at the magical vision in horror, shouting for Prince Lance. Whoosh, Eldute flinches back as magical energy swirls around him. Dark thorns spread across the floor as Violeta realizes the man's claim is true. He explains that Braccia doesn't easily do favors for people. Violeta makes a bold offer, promising to give him whatever he wants in return. Lean. He moves in close, whispering that what he wants is her soul. Leap. Flash. Eldute jumps into action as Violeta prepares to unleash a blast of blue magic. Crackle. Eldute shields the green-haired man, intercepting the blast with a powerful magic circle. Thud. He collapses unconscious, and Violeta cries out his name in alarm. Grab. The man seizes her chin, commanding her not to look away, and that he must be the only one to hold her gaze. He leans in to kiss her amidst a swirl of blue rose petals. Drip. A single drop of blood falls onto the man's bare chest. Lean. He gently kisses her forehead, holding her head in his hands. Breccia's magic manifests as sparkling butterflies in a cosmic void. Step. A woman with brown hair and a white dress materializes in a magical realm. She looks at her reflection in the water below, shocked to see she has returned to her own body. The green-haired man appears before her, asking if this is her other soul and if it has a name. Clutch, she turns away nervously and states her name is Kosehi. The man observes that her name doesn't sound like it's from this world. He continues, stating her soul isn't from this world either. She looks at him in confusion, asking what he means. The white-haired Violeta embraces the brown-haired Kosehi from behind, whispering her name. Violeta gently holds Kosehi's hand while the green-haired man watches. Kosehi stares with wide eyes, beginning to understand the situation. The man looks on with a somber expression as she wonders about Braccia. Kosehi clasps her hands, her expression filled with distress and worry. Distressed, Kosehi clutches her hands, her expression filled with worry. The green-haired man watches her with a calm, unreadable expression. Violeta declares she wants to return someone to normal, and the man correctly guesses she means Lily Crispel. Kosehi beams with hope, happy that he understands the situation. Grasp, she grabs his arm, pleading for him to free Lily's real soul. He looks away, thinking to himself that it would be a bad idea. He explains that freeing her original soul now would kill her. Kosehi repeats his words in shock, unable to believe the grim reality. He explains that, unlike her and Violeta, who accepted each other and can coexist, Lily Crispel's original soul was suppressed by the one that entered later. The green-haired man continues his grave explanation, saying if he forces a separation, either her body or her soul would inevitably break, a fatal outcome. He states that while he doesn't care about the new soul, Lily Crispel is the very foundation of their world. If Lily dies, he warns, the world would lose its purpose and all life would perish. Kosehi despairs, thinking she'd finally found a way to save Lily, but Violeta asks if she's giving up. Glance, he looks down at Kosehi, now held in his arms. A vision of Violeta reveals her true thoughts. She'll do anything to get rid of Choi Yuri. Flustered, Kosehi turns to Violeta, who smiles and thinks that Lily is the world itself. Kosehi confronts Braccia, reminding him that he previously said this was impossible. A look of resolve hardens Kosehi's face. Braccia acknowledges her astuteness, as she admits she only knows a spell exists, not how to perform it. She implores him to work with her to find a way to remove Choi Yuri from Lily's body. The scene shifts to a majestic cathedral bathed in sunlight and floating petals. Braccia tells her not to make him repeat himself, asserting that he alone decides his actions. Kosehi watches him turn away, his refusal hanging in the air. She turns the tables, calmly asking if he still wants her soul. She continues her offer, admitting it would be difficult to give him her soul now, but implies a future deal. He looks at her, stunned by her bravery, asking if she's not afraid of death. Standing beside a smirking Violeta, Kosehi confesses that of course she's afraid, but smile. Violeta radiates a brilliant and confident grin. He questions her plan, asking who she expects to perform the difficult task of separating the souls if he takes hers. She reminds him of his own deal as he groans in frustration. He thinks to himself that any ordinary person would have already fled to escape death. With a gentle smile, Kosehi says that she is different. She gazes at him with quiet strength, bathed in a warm, golden light. He looks back at her, his expression softening as he's surrounded by the same light. Lean, he pulls her into a sudden, close embrace. He whispers for her to close her eyes, explaining they need to leave this place. As she blushes, he thinks about the rule that they must also kiss to leave. He kisses her forehead, silently lamenting the embarrassing rule he created. Their lips meet in a tender, magical kiss. Violeta watches them with a satisfied, knowing smirk. She gently leans into the man's embrace. They are whisked away in a brilliant torrent of purple energy. Their journey ends at a tall, secluded tower nestled in a sunlit grove. Violeta, now in a new teal gown, smiles peacefully with her eyes closed. She finds herself sitting alone inside the tower, taking in her new surroundings. Kosehi looks around the ethereal golden realm she has returned to. Violeta appears, embracing Kosehi from behind in the luminous space. A final vision shows the two souls, fractured but existing as two sides of the same whole. Kosehi appears in a magical, butterfly-filled realm. Pondering, Violeta suddenly remembers the ailing Prince Lance. Jolt, she springs up, realizing Lance is suffering alone. Clack, she hurries off, determined to heal him. Step, she finds Bracha, who calmly states he's already treated him. He explains to a concerned Violeta that it was a simple magic fever. Bracha explains this is the price for recklessly using magic in his fog as Lance sleeps. Plop, Violeta sits gently on the edge of his bed. Prince Lance rests peacefully, surrounded by an aura of white flowers. She smiles, tenderly brushing his vibrant red hair. Thud. A sudden sound from behind startles Violeta. A cute chibi version of her expresses pure confusion. Snooze, she finds Eldute slumped over a railing, fast asleep. Violeta confronts Bracha, demanding to know what he's done to Eldute. He looks down with a nonchalant "oh." Bracha looks up, a slight, knowing smile on his face. Shake, shake. Violeta cradles the sleeping boy in her arms. Bracha thinks of Violeta and her pink-haired sister. His thoughts turn to the Prince of the Earth Kingdom. The vision of the pink-haired woman fades away. He muses on how evil the soul is that requires separation. Presenting a glowing ring, Bracha announces, it's done. Violeta looks at the offered ring with a questioning gaze. A vision shows a powerful mage forging the magical ring. Squeeze, she clutches her dress as he tells her to relax. He explains that he simply stabilized a soul that was about to vanish. A brief vision shows a smiling white-haired man and woman. She turns away, realizing she's received much help from Bracha. Lance continues to breathe steadily in his deep sleep. She reflects that while rough, Bracha is actually very considerate. Violeta smiles, clasping her hands with gratitude. Mumble, he mutters that she's quite concerned for those lucky men. Hearing him, she asks if he said something. He turns his head with a stern expression. No. He inwardly scolds himself for speaking his thoughts aloud. A fleeting memory shows him with Violeta and Kosehi. The memory focuses on Kosehi's gentle, blushing smile. His memory shifts to him looking at a glowing butterfly. The story pauses for a brief interlude. The vision of the three of them returns, awash in light. It again highlights Kosehi's warm expression. The memory ends on him gazing at the butterfly. His reptilian eye narrows in thought. Violeta approaches, asking if he's okay because he looks pale. He dismisses her concern, turning away from her. Rustle, rise. Lance suddenly sits up from the bed. The red-haired man looks around, awake but confused. Overjoyed, Violeta cries out Lance's name. As he takes in the scene, Lance thinks, I see. Lance sits up, thanking Bracha for saving him. Bracha dismisses his thanks with a nonchalant expression. Groan. Violeta looks on with a complicated expression. Lance's expression hardens as he considers the situation. Bracha reveals he threw out the woman Lance was looking for. Lance demands to know why, while Violeta anxiously asks if Lily is safe. Bracha looks thoughtful, letting out a soft, vroom. He summons a glowing orb of purple magic to show them. The magical vision reveals a sunlit garden gazebo before a grand estate. Within the vision, a pink-haired woman sips tea, attended by a servant. The vision shifts to a gray-haired man, identified in thought as her father. The vision shows a purple-haired woman, her mother. Loom, a monstrous claw emerges from a pool of dark energy. Foosh, the pink-haired woman smiles as dark thorns and monstrous guards surround her. She laughs with malevolent glee amidst a storm of dark magic. Chills run down their spines as Violeta and Lance watch the vision in horror. Violeta identifies the cruel enchantment magic being used to control people's minds. Lance recoils in shock, surrounded by the vision's dark aura. Inhale, he closes his eyes, steadying himself against the horror. Exhale, he breathes out, his expression still fraught with worry. He looks up with conviction, declaring that woman cannot be Lily. He turns to Violeta, his eyes filled with concern. Violeta turns to Bracha, pleading for him to send them to Crispal. Vroom, he agrees, and immediately summons a teleportation circle. Swoosh, a vortex of magical energy begins to form. Swoosh, a shimmering portal opens, revealing the Crispal estate in the distance. Violeta and Lance stare into the portal with grim determination. Standing before the portal, Violeta offers Bracha her heartfelt thanks. He warns her that her opponent will be merciless and asks if she's ready to fight. Violeta listens to his warning with a serious gaze. Her red eyes glint with unshakable resolve. Bracha asks if she understands that either a soul or a body might be lost. A fleeting vision of the pink-haired woman fades into light. Violeta realizes this means either Lily or Choi Yuri could die. She takes a resolute step forward into the grassy realm. Now, in a new, elegant battle dress, she stares ahead, determined. Her voice rings out with conviction, declaring she must go anyway. She looks up, her face set with absolute determination. She strides forward confidently, surrounded by an aura of white magical roses. The pink-haired woman laughs as her enchanted guards and a shadow monster stand by. She smiles, sarcastically calling it a lovely tea party. Russell, her enchanted parents approach, fawning over how lovely she is. Smile, she accepts their praise, but her dark reflection sighs with boredom. The dark silhouettes of her mind-controlled puppets fill her thoughts. She reflects that this life is no different from her previous one. She pouts, wondering where Siki is and wanting to show her something. Flutter, a dark Pegasus soars across the sky toward her. Clack, a visitor's boots land on the stone path, drawing her attention. She beams with joy, giving the newcomer a radiant welcome. A joyous cry echoes for Prince Majes. Step. Prince Majes arrives bearing handsome gifts. Growl, a monstrous shadow beast, startles the pink-haired woman. Rustle, a beautiful blue gown, is presented to her highness. The pink-haired woman gasps that the prince's gift is wonderful. Looking at him with adoration, she confesses she really wanted this. As he blushes and holds her, she internally urges Sehi to hurry and see this moment. The romantic scene transitions in a blur of light. Flash, a brilliant golden light suddenly erupts. The light bursts forth in the sunlit garden. Prince Majes looks down at the pink-haired woman as the unexplained light explodes. Shatter! Splash! She cries out as a mysterious red liquid hits her face. Drip, a drop of blood falls on the table as the prince asks if she was waiting for him. A regal, white-haired woman interrupts them, stating they need to talk. Frown, the pink-haired woman wonders if Kosehi caused the disturbance. She dismisses the thought, believing there is no way. Hug. Prince Majes embraces her, relieved that she is safe. Glance, as he calls Lily beautiful, Kosehi watches them from the side. Lily's thoughts admire how beautiful Kosehi is. Sparkle, Kosehi holds a brilliant blue ring in her gloved hand. A vision within Siki's ring shows a green-haired man telling Prince Lance that Lily is cheating on him. Turn, the young blonde boy worriedly asks if Prince Lance is okay. Prince Lance stands stoically amidst a field of roses. A chibi version of the blonde boy asks what happened, and the green-haired man suggests using the Earth's memory. The scene returns to the present, with Kosehi standing before the couple. Lily smirks, thinking Kosehi is speechless with shock and finding the situation exciting. Smirk, Kosehi returns a confident smile of her own. Glare, Lily demands to know what is so funny. Kosehi reveals she recognizes the rare enchantment magic being used. Lily continues to glare, clutching the prince's arm. Leaning close, Kosehi asks if Lily wants to know how she knows about the magic. She whispers the secret of the enchantment magic to Lily. She explains it is discarded data from the Land of Destiny. A vision of the smirking green-haired man appears. Lily is confused, while Prince Majes inwardly fumes at Kosei's interruption. Flash, Kosei commands her to undo the enchantment magic immediately. Lily winks playfully and asks, "Or what?" Raise, Kosei answers by summoning a pillar of fire from the ground. Blaze, Lily stares in shock as the magical fire erupts. As the flames blaze, Lily furiously insists that she is just Kosei. Flinch, Lily's eyes widen in sudden, dawning horror. Holding up a glowing golden ring, Kosei calmly replies, "No." Kosei presents the powerful ring, calmly disagreeing with her. The back of Kosei is seen as she stands before the couple. As Lily questions her actions, Kosei's ring crackles with immense power. Lily reacts in disbelief, wondering what is happening. She rages internally that Kosei is merely her shadow and has no right to be arrogant. Enraged, Lily screams at Prince Majes to kill Violeta. Watching through the vision, Lance and the blonde boy react in shock, thinking she has lost her mind. Vroom, Prince Mage's eyes glow as he prepares to unleash a powerful spell. Loom, a dark power gathers behind thorny branches. Whoosh Mages reaches out as the white-haired woman faces him in the garden. Boom, a powerful blast of energy erupts behind her as she stands firm. The pink-haired woman glares, her eyes filled with cold malice. A voice cries out in disbelief. "What are you doing, Majes?" The pink-haired woman scoffs at the weak attack, demanding he try harder to kill her. Watching a projection of the scene, Violeta realizes that the person outside is not the real Lily. The red-haired man and the blonde man are stunned as Violeta concludes it must be someone else. Aha, the blonde man speculates that Lily must have changed because of a curse. Step, he confidently walks towards the projection of the possessed Lily. Popping out from behind the white-haired man, Siki, the blonde man shouts his name. In a chibi-style argument, the red-haired boy expresses relief that Siki is back, while Siki vows to protect his mistress, and the blonde boy growls in frustration. Siki explains that the only one who can defeat the fraud and save Lily is Bracha, a fact the green-haired man confirms with a confident nod. Mages unleashes a swirling torrent of dark purple magic. Whoosh! The malevolent energy surges forward with immense force. Clink! The white-haired woman calmly stands as a golden barrier deflects the attack. A thought reveals that enchantment magic was merely dummy data. The narration explains this magic was omitted from the official version of the game Land of Destiny. This means Lily's use of enchantment magic is a critical anomaly. A startling realization dawns. This world contains discarded game data. Crackle! The white-haired woman realizes the discarded data must hold the key. Chills run down the pink-haired woman's spine as she whispers Majes' name. Yell. Lying on the ground, she screams for Majes to get rid of his opponent. Whoosh! Majes' eyes glow a fierce, demonic red. Crack! He shatters her golden flower-like shield with a powerful surge. Flash! Undeterred, the white-haired woman smiles amidst the brilliant light. Squeeze! She catches his descending sword, her bare hand stopping the blade. Her grip holds firm, halting his deadly strike in a shower of golden sparks. Drip! Drop. A single tear falls from both of their eyes in the heat of battle. Caress, she gently cups his face, admitting she caused his pain. She looks at him with warm, crimson eyes, telling Majes he is strong. Stunned, Majes gazes back at her, her words reaching through his rage. He sinks into a dark abyss, ensnared by thorny vines. Glow, a beacon of hope appears in the crushing darkness. As he looks up, he recognizes the familiar, warm light. Raise. He reaches his hand toward the comforting glow. Grasp, a shadowy hand takes his, pulling him from the depths. The thorny vines around his arm wither and fade away. Emerging into a celestial realm, a voice greets him. There you are, while the white-haired woman calls him her lovely princess. Overcome with emotion, Majes kneels and kisses her hand. Watching from afar, the green-haired man gives a knowing smirk. The pink-haired woman watches in absolute fury, her plan unraveling. In the cosmic dreamscape, the white-haired woman greets Majes, who kneels before her in reverence. The green-haired man confirms with a smirk that the enchantment has been undone. Defeated and enraged, the pink-haired woman seethes. Standing in the garden, she furiously demands to know how the magic was broken. Majes looks up, his senses returning as he speaks. The pink-haired woman screams in frustration, demanding an explanation. With deep regret in his eyes, Majes apologizes to Violeta. Smile. The white-haired woman gives a confident, knowing smile. Clench. The pink-haired woman seethes, telling them to stop flirting. Loom. She furiously orders her shadowy minions to kill Violeta. Whoosh. The dark creatures surge towards Prince Majes and Violeta. Crackle. Prince Majes erects a magical shield, protecting Violeta from the attack. The pink-haired woman boasts that soon everyone will fall in love with her. Loom. Massive shadow beasts surround the prince as he holds an ailing Violeta. Sparkle. A ring on Violeta's finger begins to glow with an intense blue light. Flash. A blinding light erupts from the ring, shocking Violeta. As chaos unfolds, the green-haired man casts a defensive spell against a fiery assault. Foosh. He expertly deflects the attack with his shimmering purple shield. Blaze, Lance, and the blonde boy charge into the fray as the pink-haired woman cries out in protest. She questions in disbelief why even Lance is fighting against her. In desperation, she screams for her mother and father. Her parents appear in a vision, reassuring their beloved Lily that she is beautiful. Ugh. Lance flinches away as the blonde boy angrily calls him a coward. Looking demure, the pink-haired woman thinks to herself that Lance would never harm her. Wreathed in flames, Lance brandishes his sword and demands the return of the real Lily. He stands ready to strike, but she remains silent and composed before him. Ha ha ha! The pink-haired woman bursts into crazed laughter as dark thorns surround her. She declares she will simply kill Siki and control everyone with her enchantment magic. Glack, a pair of elegant heels, steps onto the grass, heralding a new arrival. As Violeta appears, she reveals that Bracha has already told her everything. She explains that her own two souls have managed to coexist by accepting one another. However, she clarifies that Lily's original soul has been suppressed by the newcomer. Violeta announces her plan: integrate the new soul into something else to separate her from Lily. Peeved, the pink-haired woman scoffs at the idea, asking what she is talking about. Violeta declares that she has found something far more suitable for her. Enraged, the pink-haired woman screams at Violeta not to act like she knows her. Her thoughts reveal her selfish desires: to live happily as the female lead, worshipped by all. She concludes that anyone who doesn't worship her can simply disappear. Violeta coldly identifies this as Choyuri's true nature and the reason she was ignored, then asks if she's still using her ghostwriter, to which the pink-haired woman asks what she means. A memory shows a winking, pink-haired woman from a different time. Magazine clippings celebrate the genius game developer Choyuri. A plaque names Choyuri as the developer of the land awaiting destiny. Violeta finishes her thought, stating that Choyuri is simply confused. Before a grand, shattering cathedral, Violeta declares that Choyuri is ruining the land of destiny. Surrounded by golden light, Violeta points forward with unshakable conviction. Glare, the pink-haired woman sneers defiantly, challenging her to act. Violeta vows to separate the impostor's soul from the real Lily. She then reveals her ultimate plan: to integrate Choyuri into the world's discarded data. A thank you note from the artist appears unrelated to the story. Before the fracturing cathedral, Violeta repeats that Choyuri is destroying the land of destiny. Her voice continues, addressing Choyuri by her full name. Pointing forward, Violeta's resolve shines in a brilliant golden aura. The pink-haired woman glares back, challenging her with a contemptuous smirk. Violeta's goal is shown again: to pull the two souls apart. Her voice continues her ominous promise, trailing off into the next action. She will cast Choyuri's soul into the void of abandoned data. Standing behind his allies, Lance questions why he should be integrated into anything, while Lily and her parents look on in confusion. The white-haired woman stares ahead, her expression a mask of distress. The scene shifts to a modern, sunlit office building. In a meeting, a team praises a new character design, with one person noting it's better than Yuri's original draft, and another commending Sehi. Flustered, a woman with braided hair and glasses named Sehi sheepishly thanks her colleagues for the praise. As her coworkers celebrate her success, a pink-haired woman types silently at the table. Grit. The pink-haired woman grits her teeth, a flicker of resentment on her face. Later that night, she leans forward in the dark office, as her hand hovers over the mouse with a click. Click. Her cursor selects the Land of Destiny folder and slides down a list of other project files. Grin. She smiles with cruel satisfaction as a delete file prompt appears on her screen. Click. She makes her final, decisive choice. Siki returns to her desk, crying out in shock that all of her data is gone. A disembodied voice feigns surprise, asking if her data is missing. The pink-haired woman leans over a stunned Siki, chiding her for being so careless. Staring at her colleague's malicious smile, Siki has a horrified realization. Choi Yuri did this. Drop. A single tear of despair falls from her eye. Alone in the darkness, Siki mourns her lost work, wondering why the characters had to disappear. Back in the fantasy world, the pink-haired woman asks Violeta if she thinks the data resents her. Wah! She erupts in laughter, mocking the idea that mere data could hate her. Violeta realizes with shock that the data feels the same jealousy, resentment, and anger that festers inside Lily, whose form is consumed by darkness. Crackle! The world around them begins to pixelate and break apart. Crackle! The digital corruption intensifies, distorting their reality. Alarmed, Violeta and her companion look up as the world glitches. The digital fragmentation spreads, threatening to consume everything. Violeta reaches out as she is caught in a swirling vortex of light and data. Whoosh! She is consumed by a blinding flash of light. As images of forgotten characters flash by, she realizes this is the abandoned data. Smiling with newfound purpose, Violeta apologizes for not understanding sooner. She unleashes a massive orb of energy, a beacon of light in the sky. The energy ripples across a peaceful garden, where a group stands before a gazebo. Crackle! A chaotic mass of dark energy and thorns begins to coalesce. Grr, the darkness takes the shape of a monstrous fanged maw. The swirling dark energy grows more menacing. FZZZT, Loom, a shadowy beast materializes, and Violeta thanks it for recognizing her and allowing her to escape. Roar, the monstrous creature lets out a deafening cry. A woman with a crown of blue flowers stands defiantly before the beast. Gape. The creature declares its intent for revenge, its jaws closing around a terrified Lily, as it vows she will disappear. Violeta cries out her enemy's real name. Choi Yuri. Crunch, a sickening sound echoes through the air. Trapped within the monster's teeth, Lily desperately screams for help. Memory of two loving figures appears, praising Lily and telling her how proud they are. Ugh! The pleasant memory is shattered by a pained grunt. In the darkness, a single bitter thought remains Liar's. The blonde man urgently asks Violeta if this monstrous attack will endanger Princess Lily's physical body. With determination, Violeta prepares to act. Her hands begin to glow as she reaches out, calling Lily's name. Flash! A brilliant light erupts from her hands, blasting directly into the monster's maw. Fwoom! The divine light begins to consume the dark creature. The world is washed out by a blinding golden radiance. In the afterglow, Lily's silhouette appears, serene and untouched by the chaos. A pink-haired woman in a beautiful yellow gown stands within a giant glowing rose. Her expression is serene and contemplative, amidst a shower of sparkles and flowers. The red-haired man and a blonde woman stare in stunned silence. Her delicate hands are adorned with intricate lace-like patterns. She turns with a gentle smile as someone embraces her from behind. Crying tears of joy, the white-haired woman hugs the pink-haired woman tightly. The two women look at each other with deep affection, holding one another close. Wobble, the white-haired woman stumbles, crying out Lily's name in alarm. Touch, a gloved hand gently rests on the pink-haired woman's shoulder. The red-haired man holds her, and they share a happy, loving gaze. Surrounded by her friends, Lily beams with joy as they tell her to calm down. Drip. A single tear of quiet emotion falls as the white-haired woman smiles. A memory reveals two women, both deemed unnecessary existences. A thought continues, stating that for the land of destiny to have a happy ending, the evil princess Violeta must be dealt with. A vision shows Violeta bound by glowing chains, destined to be sealed away forever. A thank you message from the artist appears between scenes. The memory of the two women being called unnecessary resurfaces. The vision of Violeta's eternal imprisonment is shown again. Violeta thinks to herself that to get sealed away, she needs Lily's help. An option screen appears, listing various prisons to be sealed in. Her crimson eyes are focused and determined. She questions why the option screen appeared for her and not for Lily. A knowing, cunning smile spreads across her face as she understands. A sparkling, heart-shaped pink brooch is displayed. The red-haired man smiles warmly at the blushing pink-haired woman. The white-haired woman watches them with a confident, knowing look. A gloved hand raises a glowing yellow ring, its light reflected in Lily's eye. Lily places a hand over her heart, seemingly making a momentous decision. Her elegant shoe steps onto the lush green grass. Raise, as her friends call her name, Lily presents her open hands to Violeta. Blaze, a brilliant lotus flower made of pure golden light, ignites in her palms. An explosion of golden energy envelops the entire garden party. Violeta looks on, her expression a mixture of surprise and concern. Her inner thoughts recall the purpose was to show appreciation to the players. She feels a wave of relief, glad to finally protect her beloved land of destiny. Lily's eyes flash gold, wide with shock at the power she's unleashed. Her friends cry out in alarm, yelling at her to stop. Clench, she squeezes her eyes shut, fighting against the overwhelming force. No, she screams, engulfed in a torrent of golden flames. Violeta calls out her name, stunned and confused by this unexpected turn. A calm resolve settles over Lily's face. Violeta's hand gently places the golden ring on Lily's finger. Speaking her own name, Lily Crispell vows to stay and work together. Holding hands with Violeta, she gives a warm, reassuring smile amidst glowing roses. The two women stand together in the garden, united by a shared purpose. Violeta realizes with shock that Lily has just escaped a predetermined event. Lily smiles kindly, as if to soothe her friend's worries. She tells a stunned Violeta that everything in this world loves her. Touched and amazed, Violeta gazes forward, taking in the profound declaration. The white-haired woman gives a faint, knowing smile. In a shower of golden flowers, Violeta tearfully embraces the pink-haired woman. Surrounded by her friends, the emotional pink-haired woman buries her face in Violeta's shoulder. Drip, a single tear escapes Violeta's eye as she smiles with relief and affection. The scene shifts into a dreamlike memory of falling petals. Violeta floats serenely in a cosmic void, dressed in elegant black. A brown-haired woman looks up, adrift in the same starry expanse. White, butterfly-like lights drift through a soft purple haze, transitioning the scene. The two women meet in a celestial realm, holding hands as they face one another. They share an intimate moment, smiling as their foreheads touch. Bathed in a warm golden light, their two souls find peace together. The memory fades, giving way to a bright celebratory day. Cheer. A massive crowd celebrates before a grand cathedral as a dragon soars overhead. From the dragon's perspective, the joyous crowd below is a sea of celebration. Ding! The cathedral bells ring out across the clear blue sky. Ding-a-lily and the red-haired man stand together as a happily married couple. Golden petals flutter around the intricate lace of the bride's beautiful gown. The red-haired man gazes lovingly at his bride, Lily, as she rests against him. Lily's parents watch the ceremony, their eyes filled with tears of happiness. The blonde boy and our other friends wave and cheer enthusiastically for the newlyweds. Prince Majes smiles warmly at the happy scene, a flustered attendant behind him. Drip, drip. Overcome with emotion, Violeta dabs her tears with a handkerchief. She cries with pure joy, thinking that Lily looks like an angel. Startled, she looks up as someone begins to speak to her. Prince Majes leans in close, asking Violeta what kind of wedding dress she prefers. Pop, the blonde boy interrupts, eagerly suggesting a dress from the Earth Kingdom. Slip. A hand suddenly wraps around Violeta's waist from behind. The green-haired man holds her close, much to her flustered surprise. Zap. A bright blue ring on Violeta's finger sparks with sudden energy. Zap crackle. The ring unleashes a powerful shock, zapping her overeager friends. Violeta stares in shock at the glowing ring on her finger. A white-haired man materializes from the ring's light, gently cupping her face. Prince Majes asks if he is too close, and the man apologizes, explaining he needs physical contact to remain stable. The green-haired man prepares a glowing purple spell, his patience wearing thin. Crack! The man from the ring insists that there is no flaw with his need for contact. He continues that he must be near her at all times, even while she sleeps. Her friends prepare to retaliate, calling him a pervert and threatening to kill him. Flutter. A winged creature suddenly takes to the sky, startling them. Prince Majes sweeps Violeta away on horseback, asking about their honeymoon and shocking everyone. Flustered, Violeta clarifies he must be talking about Lily and Lance's honeymoon. Prince Majes frantically denies it, thinking of a place Lily would enjoy. He looks at Violeta, his thoughts trailing off with a gentle but. He concludes that she will have a wonderful time no matter where she goes. Violeta beams with happiness, thinking how the world she fought for is so incredibly beautiful. She gazes out at the peaceful landscape, her world finally safe and full of life.